hours after a busload of high school students from Las Cruces was stopped at a border checkpoint last week. The students were headed to a swim meet in Albuquerque when an ICE agent boarded their bus and demanded to see everyone's papers. The FBI says it thwarted a mass casualty attack similar to the 2016 one in which 5 police officers were killed during a Black Lives Matter march in Dallas. A 21-year-old in Corpus Christi under arrest. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
KHOW News Time, 10:03.
Republican Congressman Gabe Evans is responding to critics about whether he supports a federal budget resolution which cuts Medicaid spending. Evans says he's still thinking.
Nothing has been decided definitively.
He says he continues to be in meetings looking at Medicaid spending and believes there can be a happy medium.
How do we cut out a lot of the fraud, waste, and abuse that's going on and actually make sure that we are delivering good quality medical care for folks?
The state Democratic Party held a rally yesterday at Evans' North Glen office, saying a yes vote on the resolution will lead to more people suffering. A Denver man has been reported missing in western Colorado. The Montrose County Sheriff's Office and the National Park Service say 31-year-old Jordan Marsters was last seen at Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park on February 13th. Masters was also seen in Grand Junction and Montrose the previous 2 days. Anyone with information about his location has to contact authorities. That's the latest. I'm Chad Bauer.
Now, Impact Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's. Try a $3 Son of Baconator today.
Yeah, still seeing a heavy jam up coming through Broomfield along US 36. Westbound, just west of Wadsworth, left side of the highway, still blocked up. One lane squeezing around this with about a 3-mile backup still. It's still starting, in fact, right at about Church Ranch, solid. 270 running pretty heavy coming off I-70 up to Vasquez. I-70 west from 270 back to I-25 is sluggish, and we're still seeing quite a bit of volume coming through downtown as well as up out of the tech center from Arapahoe to about University. With traffic, I'm Jonathan Steele.
Big news, bacon lovers. Wendy's Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. For just $3, you get crispy, crunchy apple-smoked bacon, 2 juicy beef patties, and plenty of cheese on a burger. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
As we turn our attention to friends and family and cozy warm homes, keep in mind Plumline Services with plum crazy deals on new Carrier furnaces or honest repairs and service. You'll love Plumline's mission of excellence, character, and ethics, and top quality brands like Carrier, serving Castle Rock to Fort Collins. Plumline and Carrier, turn to the experts. 25 years strong. PlumlineServices.com. Service at home. Servants at heart.
Workers across Colorado are taking paid leave to manage their serious health conditions. Coloradans like Marissa.
I was out of work for 3 months. I'm very grateful that family allowed me that opportunity to be able to focus on my health and my mobility again. I didn't have to stress about my bills being covered, how I was going to pay rent. I really could just focus on getting better during that time.
Learn more at famli.colorado.gov. Brought to you by Colorado's Family Division, the Colorado Broadcasters Association, and this station.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
off. Bad news. You need advice so you don't have to lose. We'll come running just as fast as we can. Troubleshooter's gonna help the common man.
This is the Troubleshooter Show. Now, Tom Martino.
Welcome to the only show that's got to hear to solve problems, answer questions, take complaints. My goal in life is to make your life a little bit better. You've been ripped off. You've been taken advantage of. We've got lines open. The show's just starting. I want to sink my teeth into something. 303-713-8255 or 303 Martino. By the way, that number works on and off the air. Joining me in studio today, attorney at law, Dan McKenzie. Anything that has to do with trusts and probate. Dan, how would you describe everything you do? What's the best way in a paragraph or at least a long sentence to describe what you do?
We really just help people get prepared for any situation where they're going to need some help. So, the famous one, of course, is if you pass away. But that is only one situation. Most of us have situations in our lives where maybe we're injured or hospitalized or just out of town. And
that's a good one.
So,
So what do you do for someone that's hospitalized?
That's power of attorney documents usually. Your will is not helpful in that situation, and we're trying to plan to make sure that there is somebody trustworthy who can step in and do stuff like just open mail, pay bills, talk to your mortgage company, like that kind of stuff.
Everything like that. Got Deputy D sitting to my right, Deputy Scott. We got Deputy Chopper. Kelly's in the house. And, of course, Shannon on the other side of the board. If you have been ripped off or just need some help, we got a list of people at referrallist.com, along with the experts here in studio that can answer any of your questions. Maybe a contractor ripped you off. Maybe you got a problem with a landlord. All of the above. 303-713-8255, 303 Martino. Deputies, any updates whatsoever? What do we have cooking? No, Scott, no updates? Dimitri, any updates, sir?
Yeah, I've got an update for you.
What do you got, Scott?
So a couple weeks ago, we had, let me grab my notes real quick. 1 second here.
1 second. I don't got a second, Scott. 303-713-8255. Come on now.
Gary.
After all this, I hope it's a great update, like $100 million. What are we talking here?
We had Gary call in, and he actually is he's with one of our sponsors, but he had bought a really expensive sofa from Lazy Boy up in Fort Collins.
How much?
$11,000.
Oh my God! For just one sofa, or like a whole family room set?
No, I think it's like one sofa. But
one sofa, $11,000.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And they delivered it back in September, and the day after, they delivered it, Gary and his wife noticed some problems with it.
Like what? What kind of problems?
There was some dents and some parts didn't fit quite right. And so then he started...
What kind of parts are there for a sofa?
Well, maybe it's a recliner, I think.
Maybe in the end's like a sectional.
A sectional, exactly.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more than just a sofa. I think this is like a sectional that curves around. So they reached out to Lazy Boy, and Lazy Boy sent someone out. We're going to order a part. Took forever and ever and ever to get parts. And so he called here and wanted us to go back to Lazy Boy, and he just wanted to...
He wanted a refund.
He wanted a refund.
Well, I'm not so sure what their refund policy is, but okay.
Yeah.
We had one years ago with Lazy Boy. They wanted to return it because it smelled. They said it got delivered and it smelled. And I literally went out during the show. Tom was here. And I smelled it. And it did smell. It actually smelled. And we got them. It smelled like formaldehyde.
Oh, goodness.
No, it was horrible. It had the most worst chemical smell ever, and they couldn't get rid of it, so ultimately they refunded it, but it was a fight. So what happened here?
So a couple weeks ago, Lazy Boy finally agreed, hey, we're going to come out, we'll pick up your sofa, we're not going to charge a restocking fee, and we're going to give your money back.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just because some missing parts.
And, yeah, I mean, the sofa wasn't what he expected.
For $11,000.
$11,000.
It should have been the Mac Daddy of all Mac Daddies of sofas. I agree 100%. That's great. That's another $11,000 to our over $300 million. Cash merchandise, exchanges, refunds. directly due to this show. Chopper, any updates? Dimitri, any updates?
Hey, Mark.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. Maybe
Yes.
I'd like to turn this over to you because you have that.
What is it?
Remember
What is it? What is it that I have? That fill in the blank. That what?
Je ne
F
sais
word.
quoi.
You want to help him with what?
Yeah, well,
Je ne
what
sais
is it
quoi.
does he have?
Je ne sais quoi.
The je ne sais quoi. There you go.
Oh, man, you stole the words out of my mouth. So you got that.
I got that.
Remember probably about 3-4 weeks ago.
Get closer to the mic, sir.
3 or 4 weeks ago, we had a guy take his truck into Bradley's down there in Pueblo, and
I do remember that. What was the problem with it?
Well, they gave him an outrageous bid. I think it was $78,000 to get it fixed. The rail was bad. The fuel was bad.
$7,800. $78,000.
Well, I said 7,800 last time, but everyone said I was wrong. Maybe I said 7.
It was 7,800.
Okay.
I remember that.
Well,
so they did two things. They did a fuel pump, and then ultimately what fixed it was a fuel rail.
Right.
They were going to refund.
He still claims they're going to do it all, zero cost. Here's the problem.
Who claims that?
The dealership.
Okay.
Because
they're going to run it under warranty? What are they going to do?
Yeah, they're going to run it apparently under warranty. But it's been like 4 or 5 weeks now.
Yeah.
And the truck's still there.
Well, why? Are they don't have the part?
I don't know. I've called them a couple times. This is where the Mark comes in.
Well, what am I going to do on that? I mean, what do they possibly say to you when you call? They won't call you back? What does the consumer say? What's the caller say?
We're going to fix it. And here's the part that I'm not poking the bear on. They've given them a car to use.
Oh, it's good.
So I really don't know. That's why I'm kind of asking your expertise.
Well,
should we poke the bear or should we just let it keep going?
What I need to know is if they can get the part or not. If literally the fuel rail, I think that's what needs to be done at this point, is back ordered.
Right.
I mean, what are we going to do? We've got to have information from the caller.
I'm going to go off during the show and give the caller another call.
And ask the caller what's going on. Now, maybe it's said and done. Can you not get in touch with the caller?
No, the caller keeps in touch with me.
Okay, good.
And he said he would call me when it was done, but like I said, I didn't really want to poke the bear if they gave him a car.
We had a caller one time. We got back $100,000 on a mini house. It was built like on a trailer. It had it was a mini house. It wasn't like a fifth wheel. It was technically a mini house, and you would put it on a slab of cement somewhere. And whatever happened, it showed up. They couldn't deliver it to where the guy wanted it. And ultimately, they were going to give him a refund. And ultimately, they did give him a refund, okay? He wouldn't come on for the update because he signed a release with them saying he wouldn't talk about it. So they basically told him, too bad, so sad, your mini house is off of I-25 near Pueblo. You can go get it. We left it there. And we ended up getting them to pick it up and give him a refund on it because they resold it to somebody. But he got a full refund. He didn't want to come on and say it because he signed that release. So that's why I asked you if you've been talking to the consumer. A lot of times he'll sign a release and they're terrified to come back on. Because if you look at that release, and I'll bring Dan McKenzie in a general release, Dan, that says, hey, you're not going to disparage us in writing or by word of mouth or talk about a settlement. I mean, it covers every aspect. So coming on the air and saying, yeah, they gave us a full refund could create a problem. And most releases actually say they might want the money back at that point.
Yeah, I wouldn't give them a reason to. I mean, I don't know. If you've signed the release, if it's important to keep talking, don't sign the release.
Yeah, that's it. Then what you do is you come on air and say, hey, they're going to cut me a check. They're going to give me the full amount. Would you please just not say anything about it until afterwards? So there's different ways of handling it. So Shannon, do I have 15 zero reses? Or I see you got them all fixed up. I appreciate that. Look, we've got lines open. We never have lines open. I want to hear from you. 303-713-8255. 303 Martino. Any problems you got? Any comments? We want to help. 303 Martino. We'll be back right after this.
This is Michael Brown, and you know how much I love small businesses. If you're thinking about advertising but not sure about how, where, or the cost, then KHOW is the one place where you can get everything you need to market and grow your small business. Radio or podcast ads, social media or digital, we can do it all, including search and email. If your small business needs to grow, let us help you with a plan that fits your budget and your needs. Call 844-844-iHeart. That's 844-844-iHeart.
Red Rocks Roof and Solar. Brooke knows how to find the money. If you got a commercial project, she can get anywhere from 95 up to 120%. Yeah, I said 120% of it covered. Maybe a duplex or a quadplex. You want to start selling your tenants your own electricity that you generate off of a Red Rocks roof and solar system that cost you $0 at the end. I wanted to give her a call for all the details. 303-704-2449. It's a real deal. RedRocksRS.com. ZeroResDenver.com. High alkaline, super soft purified water. By the way, that's one of the best cleaning agents in nature. They call it Zero or ZR water. They have put not only this great water into the extraction process to clean your carpets the right way, but they have the right equipment. When they leave, your carpets aren't still really moist. They dry within an hour or so. Some of these other guys, 12 hours go by and your carpets are still dirty. And even worse than that, have you ever had your carpets cleaned and 3 days later that wine stain or that stain comes back that you thought they got rid of? It wicks back up through the padding, right through the carpet again. You feel like you wasted your money. Well, not with ZeroResDenver.com. They got great specials going on right now. Give these guys a call. 303-471-5150. 303-471-5150 or ZeroResDenver.com. KH Home Solutions now featuring Alpine windows. These windows are absolutely magnificent. They're made in Colorado for Colorado. They are one of the best super insulating, thermally efficient windows I have ever seen. If you want to learn more about these, or maybe you need entry doors or siding, K&H has been around since 1956. You got to check these guys out. The legacy says everything. 303-421-7100 or khwindows.com.
Man, I am happy to tell you about the only realtor that makes...
We went through an appraisal property on our damage to our kitchen, and it finally got handled and finished.
That's good.
Yeah, originally they wanted to give me 8, then we got it to 18, and then through the appraisal property, everybody just signed off on almost 37.
Okay.
We had water come in. We had a hailstorm. We have a hail-proof roof, so the roof was fine, but it piled up on the glass door while we were out of town. And it melted. It was like 80 degrees out. And when it melted that quick, it went right in through the railings. And we have hardwood on our entire first floor, basically. And just beats hell out of it. Let's see. That's weird. I wonder where that's on speaker. So, yeah, got that up now. Which one is that condo?
Oh, it's the one over by Tom's studio, home studio. It's the one that got flooded 2.5 years ago, and the HOA still hasn't plugged the leaks in the roof, and so it can't be rebuilt. And the lady got to move out, just making payments on rental, mortgage, insurance, and everything. and it's just at a standstill. They've been waiting for her to go broke.
It's like 2 years, right?
I remember that.
2.5 years ago.
They're literally waiting for her to go broke. What did Matt look at? Just the agreement?
No, he went there. He visited the concrete box that's there.
What did he think?
I don't know. That's why I want to get him on the air. I want to see, because they haven't paid for the her personal property that was lost.
And it's not too late. It's not past time. All right, 303-713-8255. 303 Martino, you've been ripped off or taken advantage of. We also have Dan McKenzie in with us. coplans.co, anything to do with wills, trust. Dan, do most people get a will or trust these days? I mean, I realize everybody's different, but what's the benefit of a trust over a will? Or vice versa?
Well, yeah, I mean, trusts are usually better. I think most attorneys and even most online systems charge a little bit more to set up trusts. They're a little bit more work to set up. You got to retitle your stuff to the trust, whereas with a will, you're just saying, take whatever I have and give it to these people, right? You don't really have to do much work beyond that. With a trust, you're creating this thing that you're going to put, it's like a vehicle that you're putting your stuff into, and it's going to manage your stuff. So, the reason it works so well is because you run it during your lifetime, and then it's just someone else steps in immediately, in any situation. It could be death, could be the incapacity events we were just talking about, and they just take over that trust and they keep going. They don't need any court authorization to do it because the thing that owns your stuff, which is the trust, is always alive and well.
So it's almost like an LLC in a lot of ways.
It is. It's like an LLC for your personal stuff.
And then you can also, of course, like in our trust, you can, well, actually, we changed this. But at one point, when the kids were younger, you know, if they wanted to use the money for college, they could use it for that. But they wouldn't simply get a lump sum of money at any certain time. I mean, that's pretty normal, right?
Yeah, you can describe under what conditions the people who are going to receive that money get it. So you could say they just get it.
Yeah, of course.
And they do get it, right? But you can put most restrictions that you can think of on it. You can't violate public policy. You can't tell somebody you got to...
public policy? Give me an
can't
example.
say you got to marry within the faith to get this money.
Oh, really?
No.
Now, why couldn't you say that, just out of curiosity?
Because we're not discouraging marriage in this society. We're not going to, bind someone to be like, there's a famous case you read in law school where somebody they were supposed to marry within the Jewish faith, and they lived in a part of the country where there really wasn't a large Jewish population. He's like, I can't do it.
Is that what changed public policy on it?
That is where the court said, look, we are not going to set up a situation where somebody is going to get paid for getting married. We're not going to pay people to get divorced. We're not going to, hold money back if they don't get married.
Could you say they have to get married, or still that would be the same? That would be the same public policy.
That's it just generally married. I mean, probably, yeah. You're probably violating public policy. We don't want people out there getting married for this, right?
For money.
Yeah.
How about, can you leave money to a grandkid that hasn't been born yet?
You can set aside money and say it's going to be in this class of people, but you got to word that pretty carefully, because we don't want money tied up in some situation where
they don't have kids or can have kids.
Yeah.
But people do leave money to generations down the line.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people.
All of our trusts say, look, to my descendants, and if my descendant still has money in this trust and they pass away, then it's going to go to their descendants, and they don't have any descendants at the moment.
So when does someone cross over from that simple will? Like, let's say, I'll just use our own situation. When Suzanne and I first got married, I mean, God, we were so young. Yeah. I was like 21, she was 18. And actually, I don't think we had a will up until we had kids. We simply didn't have anything. Yeah. So it really didn't matter. We lived in an apartment. We lived paycheck to paycheck. Right. I mean, we really had nothing. But as soon as we had kids, then we had to start thinking, okay, if something happens to both of us, who's going to watch the kids? Yeah. So that would either be my parents or her parents or whoever you specify. So, but beyond that, when you just have a kid but no assets, when do you cross over to that next level of you need more than a simple will?
I think, well, there are certain situations where you really have to have a trust. So once you have kids, if you have kids who are minors, they cannot receive money. An adult has to receive it for them. So there can be money set aside for them. But you got to put an adult in charge of that. And that is a trust. If you don't do that, then the court's going to do it through a conservatorship.
And then I heard the conservatorship, they can eat up the funds pretty quick.
That can be pretty expensive. I mean, the person who is the conservator is operating without any instructions from you at all. You don't know who that person is. I mean, the court watches them pretty closely, which is part of the drawback. They got to report to the court every year.
And get
which
paid.
is a pain. Yeah. And then at 21, your kid gets it, whatever it is, right? Whether they're ready for it or not. So that conservatorship ends. So it could be still like a lot of people have life insurance, home equity, retirement accounts, and I don't feel like I have a lot of money. Well, it's all in these things that I can't access.
You've got a lot of equity, but you don't have a lot of money.
Yeah, well, that would all be turned into cash and handed to my kid.
Yeah. That's interesting. And then if you don't like a kid, we heard of people writing someone out of the will. That's not a big deal. It's got nothing to do with public interest. Like, if one of my kids pisses me off, I don't have to leave him anything.
No, I mean, you still want to be thoughtful about that because the people who are going to bear the brunt of that kid's anger are your other kids. Because you're not here to bear it. So
yeah, but there's no issue with that.
There's no legal issue, no.
What happens if you don't have a will?
You're going to have,
let's say you have assets.
Yeah.
And no will. What happens to your money? People
so there are
say
default
it goes
rules
to the state.
Yeah, that's not really true. Yeah, there are default rules about who it goes to, and it's kind of what you would think, right? It's going to go to my spouse if I have a spouse, and it's going to go to my kids if I don't have a spouse. It gets more interesting if you and your spouse have different kids, and a lot of times that situation really never lines up with what people want. When you're leaving stuff to stepkids, a lot of people want to take care of my spouse and then get to my kids, right? We're not, necessarily put in a situation where my kids are going to inherit right away, which is under intestate rules that can happen.
When should people update their will or update their trust? Like directly after a divorce, for example? And maybe when they get remarried? How about if they're just simply moving from, let's say you do a trust and a will for somebody here in Colorado and they move to Texas. Is that time to update?
I would certainly, yes. I mean, that's interesting you pick those two states because Texas is a community property state, which has different rules around capital gains tax. So that actually is a pretty important move.
But from here to Wyoming?
Sure. I mean, I still would advise people, you probably want, a validly executed will in Colorado is probably going to be honored in Wyoming. But I just generally like for the paperwork to match up with the current situation.
But what happens if someone didn't? Let's go back to Texas. You said that's one of the, strange ones or one of the different ones.
Yeah.
So how does that look if we move, someone moves, they never update the will, and they end up passing away? I mean, most likely will everything go somewhat smooth, but a lot more steps?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I'm referring to there is you might have heard of the capital gains step up where, when you pass away, assets that pass to people, the capital gains basis bumps up to the date of death value. Well,
in Texas?
In every state, but in community property states, which is the states running along the western coast of the United States mostly, and then Wisconsin, weirdly, there are 14 states that are community property states, and it bumps up twice. So it bumps up entirely at the first death and then again at the second death. That does not happen in the other 36 states.
So give me an example. Let's take a house?
Yeah.
So you've got, let's say the house is paid off. It's worth $1 million. Now what? So I pass away and it goes directly to my wife. That doesn't trigger anything.
The issue is that if your wife wants to sell the house, she's going to get some step up from when you passed away.
So she'd have her 50%.
Yeah.
And then it would
in a community property state, it's the whole thing stepped up.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
So both of our shares, even though I'm the only one that passed.
100% step up twice. And separate property states don't have that. So you can have a plan. People in these community property states plan differently than those of us in separate property states.
Oh,
so you have a separate property plan and move to a community property state or vice versa. You want to think about that.
You made me think of something saying that. We hear of corporations that'll set up in Delaware. I mean, Dimitri, how many times do you see a corporation and they're based out of Delaware?
Oh, it's like almost all of the major ones.
And I'm pretty sure the reason they do that, they're very favorable when it comes to going to court and having different issues. And I'm sure you know some about it, Dan, of setting it up in there, setting it up in Delaware.
Oh, yeah.
Does it ever make sense to set up a trust? And we'll talk offshore maybe a little later, but I'm not talking offshore. I'm talking in the country.
Yeah.
Does it ever make sense if you live in Texas to have the will actually done in Colorado or somewhere else?
Yeah. So you just still compared trust to LLCs, and I agree with that, except that LLCs provide asset protection. Like if I have an LLC and something happens and it gets sued, it's supposed to be separate from me. Trust is not, a revocable living trust does not do that. That's the most common type of trust. There are certain states, and again, I want to say maybe it's 14 of them, that have certain laws saying we will allow you to set up a trust in this state that we will consider to be an asset protection trust, even though you set it up for yourself.
And it's literally called that.
It's called a domestic asset
protection trust. It's still not an LLC.
Trust.
It's a trust, and it's an asset protection.
Yeah, LLCs are for business and income.
Why would someone want that? Like, give me an idea of why you would want an asset protection trust.
If I'm in a profession that gets sued all the time, so if I am a radiologist and I have a high professional liability and I want to get assets, I've got more assets than I frankly need for my day-to-day life, and I want to get them out of my name, putting them in a revocable living trust is not going to accomplish that. If I get sued, those assets are still on the line, just like if I had them. But if I put them in a trust in Nevada and set them up correctly and have a trustee out there and it's irrevocable, I really can tell people coming after me, like, hey, that's in a trust that you're not going to be able to penetrate.
That almost sounds to me as if in Colorado that would simply be an irrevocable trust.
Yeah, Colorado does not let you self-settle trust for asset protection purposes.
But but if you have an irrevocable trust, isn't that pretty? In other words, if I make a deal with Scott, hey, Scott, you're going to take care of me and my wife until we die, although that'd be funny because he's older than me. But anyhow, let's just say we make that deal. And in exchange, I don't have a lot of money, but I'm going to have this trust to where my life insurance policy or whatever I've got going goes into the trust. And that is, he's going to be the beneficiary of it. And there's no way I can change my mind because it's irrevocable. Mm-hmm. That money, if someone came after me for that money for something, let's say I was a radiologist.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't get it, right? That's pretty tucked away.
They can still get it. Nevada, Wyoming, Alaska, Delaware, South Dakota, they all have statutory schemes specifically allowing you to set up self-settled trust for you. So the situation you're describing, I guess, is not a self-settled trust because you've given it away and you are not a beneficiary anymore.
Okay.
So these states that I'm mentioning allow you to set up trust for your own benefit and count those assets as not yours.
Okay, Dan, so I got to take this break, but the question coming back, and I promise Chris and whoever else is on, we'll get into there, but coming back, why wouldn't you set up a trust? Well, I guess if you're not in a high-risk business or you don't have a lot of assets would be the reason, because you wouldn't spend the money to have you do something like that out of Nevada or one of these other states. But you must do stuff like that for some people?
Oh, yeah. So doctors are very common.
Doctors are very common.
The most common asset protection trust actually we do are Medicaid trusts, right, where people who are elderly are worried about losing all their assets to long-term care.
I want to talk about that because I'm kind of in that boat with my parents, and I'll explain after this.
This is Denver's Talk Station with Michael Brown in the morning and Dan Kaplis in the afternoon. 630 KHOW, Denver. Now, Impact Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taking a Walk Podcast.
Yeah, we're still seeing a jam up on the Boulder Turnpike, US 36. They're just clearing up the crash. In fact, all lanes should be open now, but it has been backed up to 3 miles. So making that trek into Broomfield and beyond that point if you're heading towards Boulder. Still some slight delays for us. 270's running just a little heavy coming out of Commerce City through Vasquez, both directions. I-70 west from, it looks like right now, Quebec back to I-25 and up out of the tech center from around maybe Bellevue or so is a little sluggish, but no major difficulties. With traffic, I'm Jonathan Steele.
I'm Buzz Knight, host of the Taking a Walk podcast. Step with us into the world of music. I bring you up-close conversations with new and legendary musicians. For one of the best music interview podcasts, listen to Taking a Walk on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Retirement Planning Center of the Rockies. They put it all together to help you plan your retirement. You know, a lot of people are just going to talk to you about your retirement in the terms of what you should invest in, what stock or maybe properties or what you should do, maybe an annuity. But the guys at Retirement Planning Center of the Rockies, they go over everything. They'll even talk to you how to optimize your benefits with Social Security. They're going to talk about all the tax ramifications. They're going to talk about long-term care, estate planning. And then, of course, they're going to talk about different income and the cash flow you need to live the life you want to live when you retire. These guys are great. I love the approach they take to it. It's a trusted family-owned team approach to your retirement. It's a father, son, and the son-in-law. They're great people. Over 40 years of helping people. Reach out to these folks. They've also teamed up with Martino to do some other stuff when it comes to Tom's Fund. These guys are great. Check them out at rpcenter.com. That's rpcenter.com.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert.
Because you
in general, the more assets you have, it's just going to cost more to do everything correctly. I mean, that's just it's true.
Trying to tell people, like, this is the cost of success.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry that it's a little bit more expensive.
No, exactly. No, it's like, okay, I'll tell you what. I've done it, and I know people that have done it when they complain about how much they had to pay in taxes. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Most people will never have to pay that much in taxes.
Yeah.
So. And then you find out Elon Musk paid $1 billion in taxes. You go, son of a bitch.
I wish I had that problem.
Yeah, exactly. That's a hell of a great problem to have. So we had to take our dog, our German Shepherd, to the vet it's been probably about a month. He was hobbling, man. Like, what the hell? I'm going, what's going on? So I bring him in. They take all the x-rays, and then they send him out to like an expert that's outside of their practice. So they do the imaging there, but then they send it to whomever to look at. So everything comes back, and he's been fine for the last couple of weeks. There's been no problem. But then I get an email from him going, hey, there might be a little thing here if you want to get some more imaging. Bring him in, and we can do this, but he might have something. And I'm looking at it, and I'm going, okay, is this a total upsell? Because for 2 weeks, there was nothing. Now he's fine. I figured he just twisted it in we got 5 acres he runs around in. He could have twisted in a rabbit hole for that matter. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, they're like, hey.
Do you want the ultra package?
Yeah, do you want some more imaging? I'm like, that was $1,000 in imaging.
How the hell can it cost $1,000?
It was like $700 bucks. I mean, that's just how much it was.
That's right. That's twice as many legs.
It's 4 arms.
Okay. So is he doing fine now?
He's fine. Good. Suzanne runs him like
none of that
4 to 7 miles, or not 7, but at least 4 miles all the time.
Oh, that's great.
None of that hip displacement that shepherds.
No, when we bought him, we got him from a breeder in YO, and we got him before I paid for him. We brought him in, little tiny puppy, and they X-ray and they do all that bullshit.
What's his name?
Nico. My grandfather had a German Shepherd named Tico. And I was going to take Tico, but she liked Nico a lot better, so we went Nico. He was a pretty badass German Shepherd.
Most of them are.
Nico's pretty laid back and cool. When he gets pissy, but he's cool. I had a Doberman that was just mean as shit. Our last Doberman lived to 16, and that dog, I had the cops at my house a few times. Never got in any trouble, but people definitely called the cops over that dog over years.
What did they allege?
Well, one of their kids jumped over our back fence to get on our trampoline, and the dog scared the shit out of him, literally, and didn't break the skin, but nipped him, but just scared the living shit out of him. And they called the cops. That was in Castle Rock. And Animal Patrol came out, and they were like, well, what do you expect? I mean, the kid's jumping over your fence. I mean, there's nothing we can do there. So the parents, of course, were pretty testy, but that was fine. And then one time, she got out, ran across the street, and scared the hell out of a slow person, very slow person. And didn't bite, but scared the hell out of her. That time I did get a ticket for dog at large. It was on the sidewalk in front of our house. but scared the hell out of her. But I fought the ticket. All right, folks, 303-713-8255, 303 Martino. I was talking to Dan, then I promise I'm going to go to Chris and Dick. We have two lines open. 303-713-8255. Where else can you get free legal advice on any path? And Dan specializes in what Dan specializes in, wills, trust, basically anything, life planning. I think that's one of the best ways to call it, asset protection. But we have attorneys that specialize in personal injury that can help you. We have family law attorneys that can help you. And Dan, I got to ask you this real quick, and then we'll take a call. But you went through law school, and then you graduate. And I'm just learning this because of our daughter. I always thought up until our daughter was in law school, like when you're in law school, you go, oh, okay, I want to be personal injury, or I want to do this or that. Not the case at all. No. It's simply not the case. When they cut you loose from law school, I mean, you've got to find a focus, find a job, and then decide, family law, whatever. So when you first got out of law school, what brought you to planning? I mean, what brought you to where you are now? Did you do any other forms of law?
No, I was a litigator for 10 years.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm remembering.
Yeah, I'm a consumer fraud litigator for 10 years.
That's unbelievable. I've asked you this before, and you really didn't. You liked it. It gave you, oh man, how you describe what? Yeah. Because you left it.
It's, lawyers who do that kind of work are kind of controversial. Right now we've got the Consumer Protection Bureau is a controversial part of the government that is being kind of shut down.
Yep.
And that is really in line with the kind of law that I did. I mean, I was in the private arena, but doing class actions. And obviously class actions are very controversial.
What was the big one you've done? Can you talk about one of them?
Sure. I mean, like one of the bigger ones we worked on was the freecreditreport.com, right? Which is actually a subscription service to get your credit score. You can go on there and supposedly get a free credit report.
Yeah. If you do everything perfectly, stand on your head, do 3 twists and a backflip.
The thing is, they ask for your credit card number during that. And then, everyone that we talked to who didn't realize they were signing up for a subscription I thought that was part of the process of identifying myself so they could get me my credit report.
Ah, sneaky.
And then...
did you guys win that one?
I mean, that really... So the class didn't get certified. So, that's part of the frustration of this is, like, to get the class certified, like, you really got to show everybody had the same experience, suffered the same injury. So it's actually really hard to do, right? So you've got, a very common use for class actions is, like, car defects, right? You got a car... If 3% of the cars have an issue with the brakes, they're selling thousands and thousands of cars. Yeah, that is a problem, but it's like, how do you show...
Or like a pacemaker.
Medical devices. Medical devices are usually mass torts, which is different than class actions. Also a huge, conglomeration of cases in the court system, but everybody's got to have their own case, because if you get the pacemaker and I get the pacemaker, maybe you have a heart attack, I have a stroke, what's your compensation versus mine?
Crazy. Hey, Chris, what's going on with you?
Hey, Mark, mine is more a cautionary tale than anything, but I do have a couple of questions as well. And this pertains to a death that took place 10 years ago. So we've lost everything. It was my ex-husband, and we've been divorced for many years. And the last 2 to 3 years of his life, he had a common law wife.
He died 10 years ago.
Yes.
And then when he died 10 years ago, how long had he had when you say common law, I mean, I don't really think it matters. I mean, if they file tax returns together, go ahead.
It does.
Okay. Let me ask you something. Just hold on. I want to understand something, Chris. Is your intention of talking and just using the word common law the fact that they really weren't married? Is that where you're going?
Correct.
Did they live together?
Yes.
Did they file tax returns together?
No.
Did they own a house together?
No.
Did they tell people in public they were married?
No.
Okay, then why were they common law married, and who determined that?
The state of Texas, apparently.
Okay. And just help me out here. Why would the state of Texas determine that, even though every question that I just asked you was a no? So what was there that they thought
I
they
take
were
that
married?
back. Let me go back 10 years. After the day after he died, and we went down to Texas, my daughter, his heir, our daughter, I guess I should say.
Sure.
And the common law wife presented me with this document that said that it was a common law marriage. She wouldn't let me copy it. She wouldn't give me a copy of it. She said, go back to Denver and...
I have never heard. Now, first of all, we're in Colorado, but Dan, I'll ask you, have you ever heard of a document that declares that you're common married? I just never heard of that.
I have not. I mean, that's usually a marriage
That's
license.
the whole point of common law,
That's
right?
exactly, no, that's not of common law. That's the whole purpose of marriage. A document
If you
that
have
says
a document,
you're married.
you're married.
Hey, do me a favor, Kelly. Get Bonnie Shields on. I do want to ask her that question. But keep going, Chris. So she shows you this document. Let me guess what happens here. The husband passes away, your ex, and then instead of your kid getting everything, the common law or his wife got everything.
Correct.
Okay, but somewhere, Dan, I know this is Texas, but if this was Colorado, at some point, some judge somewhere agreed that the daughter would get everything, right?
Correct, that the spouse got everything.
Or, I'm sorry, the spouse got everything.
Yeah, that can get you. I mean, sometimes we will put in a probate application and say this is the spouse. We'll say that they are the common law spouse, but you notify everyone and let them know if you disagree, come present, your case.
Well,
did you present your case, Chris, at that time? I'm just saying.
Here's what happened.
Okay.
I couldn't even tell you what the document said at this point, and couldn't get a copy of it.
But it doesn't even matter what it said, because at some point after he passed.
I didn't know that then, though, Mark.
Okay.
I didn't know what the rules were or not for common law marriage. And I come back to Denver, and I'm calling every county in Colorado, trying to find somebody that can prove that they were common law married. And of course, nobody has any record of that.
All right, hold on. Let me take this break. I promise I'll bring you right up after the break. I'm dying to see kind of where this goes, because at some point it went through either probate, it went somewhere, right, Dan?
Right.
And the wife ended up with the money. But this is, I do want to get Bonnie Shields on to see if she's ever heard of anything like this. Everybody, hold on.
Now, Impact Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Red Pilled America.
Yeah, we're still seeing a jam up on the Boulder Turnpike, US 36. They're just clearing up the crash. In fact, all lanes should be open now, but it has been backed up to 3 miles. So making that trek into Brookfield and beyond that point if you're heading towards Boulder. Still some slight delays for us. 270's running just a little heavy coming out of Commerce City through Vasquez, both directions. I-70 west from, it looks like right now, Quebec back to I-25 and up out of the tech center from around, maybe Bellevue or so is a little sluggish, but no major difficulties. With traffic, I'm Jonathan Steele.
This week on Red Pilled America, we tell the story of radio icon Glenn Beck by focusing on what could be his most enduring legacy, one that almost no one has highlighted until now. Listen to Red Pilled America on the iHeartRadio app. That's Red Pilled America, a storytelling show.
CMG Mortgage, I'm going to tell you something out there. You can go through a middleman if you want. You can spend all that money. They get the commission. They find the bank, whatever. You can argue they're good people. But I'll tell you this, not John Clace with CMG Mortgage. That's the bank he works for. He can do a loan in every single state in this country. On top of that, they do reverse loans. They do 15, 20, 30, and they do the all-in-one loan as well. They have the best rates out there. Give these guys a call. You need to pull cash out, or you want to talk about that all-in-one loan. That's what Suzanne and I have. You realize all the money in the bank offsets any interest you pay? So we basically pay zero. We have no payment each month because it's all offset. And we have got a 30-year line of credit on our house that they can't take away. We can use that for 30 years. We can pull it out whenever we want. Give John a call. He's a great guy. And talk to him about reverse mortgages. He knows everything about them. 303-882-6679. Or check him out at partnerinlending.com. partnerinlending.com. Retirement Planning Center of the Rockies. I told you before, these guys have a comprehensive approach. The 5 pillars they call to retirement: the income, the investments, the taxes, the health care, and then, of course, your legacy. They can help you with Social Security. They can optimize your benefits. They can talk to you about long-term care, estate planning. Give these guys a call. Check them out at rpcenter.com. That's rpcenter.com.
Hey, Broncos country, it's Terrell Davis here. It's a new year. It's time to work on a new you.
At Fitness Gallery, we have deals everywhere, up to 50% off. We have the nation's lowest prices on the best equipment money can buy. We carry true treadmills. They are the smoothest, quietest, and best warranty treadmills ever built for the home. Work out on your schedule on the equipment you choose from the safety and comfort of your own home. Visit one of Fitness Gallery's 7 convenient locations from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins. We have you covered.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Run a business and not thinking about podcasting? Think again. More Americans listen to podcasts than ad-supported streaming music from Spotify and Pandora. And as the #1 podcaster, iHeart's twice as long.
Hold. Good morning, Tom Martino Show. Please hold.
Kelly, I just sent you an outbound.
How can I help you?
He can do that. Of course you can. Why couldn't you record a call?
Yes.
Between me and
Sheridan Auto Tech.
Oh, well. If one person knows the call's being recorded.
303.
No one in Colorado, neither party needs it. It's just 2 people.
7242.
But the point is, so I really do have a legitimate.
Yeah, it sounds legit. I think.
If I were you, I'd get in on the ground floor.
He's got a company.
So if you don't,
Hello?
I'd like to,
Yeah, talk.
shoot it over
Sure.
to you for evaluation.
Yeah.
My junk text class action, that's handled by a specialist.
Oh, you told me.
Good morning. Thanks so much for calling the Tom Martino Show. How can I help you?
But this is totally legit. This isn't some, weird fantasy.
This isn't some McDonald's coffee spilled on him or anything.
Yeah. I'm not going to wear like my powdered wig to court. I promise I won't embarrass you.
I'm not really sure what you're talking
Near
about.
collision, Jesus. I've never seen so many like plane crashes. Now, granted, one was in Canada. I'm sure that happens a lot, but
Is your friend here in town?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to get together with that person too. Go over my documentation. And I have all these recordings that will sync both Verizon and Cellular Plus. They're an exclusive deal. They're nationwide.
Okay.
Is the name of your company Trashing Things?
what the hell does that mean? Replace
that would
mother
be
with inseminated.
Will.
Oh, that's just ridiculous.
Sir, we do have a
sounds the
wills
worst.
and
That is-
trust attorney
that's
in
wild.
today. His name is Dan McKenzie. Would you like to speak to him about that?
Couldn't that just be one nutty Wisconsin representative?
Of course it
proposed
is.
the bill, and now they're like making it sound like Wisconsin.
Correct.
That's exactly what it is. No, both sides are very good at that. You find the bonkers and Rolex.
No.
Rolex.
Rolex.
I bought one in New York City.
Rolodex.
$9.95, man.
I bought one for $40. It sucked.
A friend of mine that actually had, I bought it was like 22. He looked at it with, he could tell, and I never knew this, but a Rolex that's secondhand never ticks. It just moves. And mine, of course, was
5 seconds.
mine was a Seiko.
It was like 5 seconds.
What was his name? Because I got the same Rolex.
Mine said Rolex.
Yeah, mine did too. Yeah, but it ticks.
Do you know anybody who sells fake Rolexes? Like the super clones?
Back in the day, the second you got off the train in New York City, every person in the world had them.
Right.
You want a Gucci purse and a Rolex? Right there, baby.
$1,200 super clones. You can't tell them apart unless an expert opens it up.
I believe it. And they're
That's the
$1,200.
one I want.
I can get you some in Costa Rica.
I don't know if I'd want a $1,200 knockoff.
I've never heard of that.
All right, 303-713-8255, 303 Martino. By the way, this hour brought to you by Frank Duran, the real estate man. Frank Duran made us so much money on our house in Castle Rock. You know, he sold our model for more than that same model sold for anywhere else in the neighborhood. And he did it with his secret sauce. And by the way, Frank Duran sells more homes. Listen to this. More homes in 1 month than the average Coloradan sells in over a year in 2 months. Think about that. And you don't believe it? Go to MLS, look it up. The stats are the stats. All right, simple as that. FrankDuranHomes.com. And then, of course, when he helped us buy our house in Franktown, man, did he beat up the other people. He beat them up. He helped us negotiate that. He's just a great guy. FrankDuranHomes.com. Now, I'm going to go back to Chris. So, Chris, continue your story. 10 years ago, you basically, your husband died, and he apparently got remarried, but they didn't actually get married. The judge basically said, well, no, you actually said you saw a document from her, although you could never find where that document came from or find it again, that said they were common law married, right, Chris?
Correct, except that we never got to a judge.
You never, okay, hold on. I wanted to ask Bonnie Shields something. I have two attorneys involved in this. Dan McKenzie is going to jump in on part of it. But Bonnie, I wanted to ask you this. Have you ever seen a document in your life from any state? We happen to be talking about Texas that literally says, I assume it's
Colorado.
Or Colorado, anywhere. I don't care, Bonnie, anywhere that says someone's common law married. Wouldn't that be called an actual marriage, a marriage certificate?
Not at all. I've seen several. They're usually called affidavit of common law marriage.
Wow.
And it happens. I've seen it before where you go into your HR and say, I'm common law married. I want to put my wife on my health insurance. I've had a police department require it.
Got it.
So I have seen, and I have one in a case currently. There's an affidavit, or it doesn't have to be that fancy, you can do something else.
So, Bonnie, once that's in place, if there ever was an argument upon death, for example, if that was the wife or not, that affidavit would pretty much prove in most circumstances, I'm not saying it could have been phonied up or something, but in most circumstances, they are married.
Well, it's still iffy. And the reason the one I had where it was a police department affidavit that one of the parties signed, we went to court many years later, and I got the judge to find there was no common law marriage because their actions after that, like filing separate tax returns, all kinds of things.
So they did it just for whatever benefited at the time was your argument.
That's exactly
hold
what
on.
it was, and the judge thought so too.
So this isn't going to be as quick as I thought. So if you can hold on, that'd be great, Bonnie, because we're up against it. But Chris, so now we're 10 years later. He died, and basically the wife, instead of his daughter with you, got everything. Is that part correct?
Correct, Mark. And now that we've got this affidavit thing nailed down, I'm pretty sure that's what happened because he came down with cancer. He had no insurance. The woman that...
All right. Hold on. We'll come back to that. Bonnie, just if you can hang on, great, or I can have Kelly call you back, however you want to handle it. And Dick, I promise I got an insurance expert if I can't answer it. And then we have two lines open, 303-713-8255, 303 Martino.
Didn't listen. Talking about squirting.
How often does that come up in your world, Dan, where someone has no idea there was a spouse and the kid comes forward or something along those lines?
No idea that there's a spouse. I mean, normally it's the person who thinks they're the spouse starts the probate process. That's usually what happens, although a kid can start a process and there's like a person living in the house and we alert them, like it's borderline.
Oof.
And so alert them, like, you know, if you want to make the case that you're a spouse, here's where the probate's going to happen.
So
and that's where you better update stuff when you do get divorced or someone even just in this case just moves in with you. I mean, we have no idea if I don't know if the guy that died wanted the money to go to his kid, which I would assume he probably did, not his ex-wife, but his kid, assuming she's, you know, in her 30s or wherever she's at. compared to someone that just moved in with them for a while. But who knows? I mean,
yeah, if what Bonnie just described, like they're trying to, well, was it Bonnie or Chris who said, like, trying to get health insurance?
Yeah.
He had cancer, right? It's like, would he have done this affidavit if he wasn't trying to get health insurance?
And that would be the argument in probate, right?
Yeah. To Bonnie's point, it's like, look, yeah, they put this affidavit in and nothing else. Every question you asked was no.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, they barely live together.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yes. Which one? Yeah, I want him on. If he doesn't want to come on, fuck him. He needs to come on the air. We'll get Tipping Hat on. I saw the email.
Yeah, but he's using...
I know that. That's why I want the guy on. If that guy wants help, I want him to call in. I'm not going to go off on someone stealing my intellectual property unless someone calls in about it. And then I'm going to rip him a new fucking asshole.
Okay, all right.
Mark,
And I'm going to fucking sue him. And I'm going to tell everybody on the air I'm going to sue him. But I need the consumer to call. But if he used them thinking he's on my fucking referral list, they're not on the referral list. And they haven't been on for fucking years. And I told them 5-10 years ago to get the hell off and quit advertising.
But you do know about the company, though.
I do know about him because I went after him probably even 10 or 15 years ago for the same thing. Except they had us on the side of a truck.
Oh.
you want water, Mark?
Please. So that's one. Kelly, usually on stuff like that I'm either going to sue them through Mark Trenner, who's our IP guy, or I'm going to add up some shit and take them to small claims for 75 or 8,000, whatever it is now. I just don't know what Mark's going to want to go after it because proving damages on it is a pain in the ass.
But you want Greg on?
I want the caller on.
Yeah.
I need the caller to come on and warn everybody that Tipping Hat is using our name again. Okay. And I saw it on their invoice. Okay. I dived right into what you sent me. I looked at it, and sure enough, it's on there.
Yep. I mean, they're using it.
They're definitely using it.
I've never heard
And they've been warned years ago.
Well, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, but he's got to come on. I think somewhere in there he's like, I work till 5. Well, I don't care if you work till 5. See, to him, it's what Tipping Hat did to him, which I want to help him with. But let me tell you, that's secondary in this world with Tipping Hat because they've been doing this too long. They've been okey-doking people. This is a bigger picture thing that needs to come out.
No, but just note it. Just be forewarned that I didn't know anything about it.
No, that's fine.
I didn't know if this guy was a freaking maniac or whatever.
No.
You know, we tend to have those.
No. Get out of here. What are you, in agreement over there?
We had another show, an entire show about...
Nothing?
Like yesterday.
About what?
Enemas, like yesterday.
Oh, my God, Dan.
That whole other show. Dan, you missed the best.
That sounds like it.
You should have been here yesterday.
I was sitting with my mic off at home going, Suzanne, you got to listen to Tom. You cannot believe what's been on for the last hour. No, I don't even like cold water. I'm a room temp guy. This is fine, though. Chopper, I'm not bitching about it. I'm saying it's weird. I just don't. My teeth don't hurt, nothing like that. I just have never liked cold water. Just never liked cold water. I don't know why. I like cold beer, cold soda, cold iced tea, but not a cold milkshake. It'd be weird to have a warm milkshake.
Hi, Greg. This is Kelly.
I'm on that diet med, and I ate that damn. So on her birthday.
No.
My average meal
good.
now consists of just nothing, guys. I can't even explain it. My only calorie intake was in Vegas drinking beer.
And,
I mean, honestly, if I didn't drink beer in Vegas, I'd probably have lost 10 pounds just being there. But on her birthday, I didn't want to eat a little bit of hers, so I ordered chicken parm at this Italian place, and I ended up eating, about half of it. Oh my God. I felt like I was going to explode. It was like it was the most uncomfortable. Think of the biggest Thanksgiving meal, and you just.
God, that sucks.
It sucks. So I learned a big lesson. I was like, just don't do it. I figured maybe it just makes you feel this way, but you're really not. Like it's all mental. Yeah. Oh, no. It's not all mental. I'm on trizepatide.
And that's better than what I was on.
I'm 25 pounds, and I'll tell you, I hit that roadblock in Vegas, so I was like 28 pounds, and I came back, I was back at 25. It was all beer. Literally, the food I ate was probably 1,200, even with the chicken parm, maybe 2,000 calories in 4 days.
Yeah, but you're getting support from Sue, right?
I'm telling you, the medication does everything. What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Well,
support from her.
Diane would sit there. You got to eat something. You're going to die.
No. Yeah, she knows I'm just simply not hungry. Yeah. It's a remarkable medication. It really is remarkable.
I couldn't imagine.
You get that food noise.
Me?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, yesterday, Subway right now is doing buy one, get one on the footlongs.
Oh, God.
I had 2 footlong meatball subs yesterday in about 30 minutes. Man, pounding 2 feet of meat.
Why wouldn't you just save one?
Shortly thereafter, I knew exactly what the Kardashians felt like.
Someone just emailed, and the first thing they asked, how are Mr. Drew's bowels doing this morning?
Geez. They want you to call them.
I'm not calling them.
That was up ahead before that.
Let me tell you, I don't dig Drew. I know a lot of people find him entertaining.
Ripped off, bad news. You need advice so you don't have to lose. We'll come running just as fast as we can. Troubleshooter's gonna help the common man.
This is the Troubleshooter Show. Now, Tom Martino.
Welcome to the only show of its kind. We're here to solve problems, answer questions, take complaints. Our goal in life is to make your life just a little bit better. That's it. I mean, really, you've been ripped off or taken advantage of, a bad contractor, or you just need help from an attorney, someone to talk to. If we can't answer it, we've got a list of people at referrallist.com that can jump right in. And by the way, if you're a good business, and I mean it, you got to be a good business, you got to be willing to sign our code of ethics, and we can go over all that with you. But if you have interest in joining the referral list, please reach out to us at help, H-E-L-P, at troubleshooter.com. And anybody we talk about during the show, you can find on referrallist.com. And once again, referrallist.com. Now, I want to go back to Chris and get this finished up since we have our expert, Bonnie Shields, on. But Chris, so what I'm going to lock you in, and I'm going to lock Bonnie in right here. Hey, Bonnie, do I got you? Bonnie?
Oh, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So I want to see where we're going with this. Bonnie, you were saying you had somebody years ago. Let's let Chris finish up where she's going with this. So Chris, 10 years ago, and I got to recap because we get a new audience. So
exactly
10 years ago, your husband passed away, right?
Correct. Well, my ex-husband, yeah.
Your ex-husband passed away. And you guys had a kid, a daughter.
Correct.
And when he passed away, you thought everything was going to the kid, correct?
Correct.
But it didn't. It ended up going to a common law wife. And
correct.
At some point, she went out and got some form of affidavit for some reason. And Bonnie said that could have been anything, to get on an insurance policy. It could have been for anything.
Mark.
So
when he came down with cancer and had no insurance, they did this document that was necessary for him to get on her insurance at work.
Oh my God. Dan McKenzie's listening to this too. Hey, Bonnie, so what happened in the case you were talking about where it was kind of similar to this? Did you end up arguing in front of the judge or during probate or what? How did it go down?
Yeah, we had a hearing, and I just had a lot of evidence that after they signed that they didn't really go by it, and like filing tax returns like you're not married. That's, you
That's a
signed
big
up
one.
under oath. That's a really big one. There was that one, and the other party had been applying for all kinds of government aid, everything that she could find, and claiming that she was a single mom with no income and getting all these government benefits. And the judge said, yeah, that affidavit, that was just because you guys needed health insurance and you didn't really consider yourself married. Because common law marriage is all about, what do you hold yourself out to the public?
Yeah, are you married or not?
Yeah, everything they did after they signed that said, we're not married.
So Chris, so with Bonnie, and now I completely understand, at least, how this could go either way. I mean, basically married or not. At some point, did you not argue to the judge during probate?
Well,
Was probate opened up?
As you can imagine, it's a very long, complicated story with many people involved.
Well, we don't need to get it that complicated. Was there probate?
The bottom line, which is why I said this was a cautionary tale, is that we did not go seek legal advice.
Got it.
And then the time ran out. And my daughter was in charge, although I was guiding her. She was promised by family members, just stand back, stand by, everything's going to be fine, until the time ran out. And then she got the common law wife, made sure she had her name on everything. And we lost.
That's incredible.
Lawyers since then.
That's absolutely an incredible cautionary tale.
Exactly. And this affidavit of marriage, for whatever reason, is really irrelevant in our story at this time because...
No, but it's not irrelevant to people listening out there
that's why
at
I'm
all.
saying people need to be aware of what the rules are for common law marriage because none of us knew. None of his family, none of his friends, nobody knew about this common law marriage until after he was dead.
Yeah, I get it. It's insane, Chris, and I appreciate you calling about that. It's a horrible tale, but it's a great tale for people listening. And I want to tell everybody out there, too, family law, that's Bonnie Shields you hear talking anything, divorce, child custody, pretty much you name it. That's what Bonnie Shields does. That's about it, right, Bonnie? Anything that falls under family law.
Yep, there's a lot. I will tell you, common law marriage, of all the subjects that I've dealt with the last 22 years, that is the most not complicated, it's the most misunderstood. It's the most misunderstood. So if you hear that word coming out, talk to somebody who knows what it really means because it could make a big difference like this in the future.
Yep, that's Bonnie Shields, 303-798-1927. 798-1927 or BonnieShieldsLaw.com. Thank you, Bonnie, for that. Dan McKenzie, how many times have you had something similar to that happen? In other words, you have somebody that thought the money was going to go to their kid, not their ex-wife, but the kid they had with the ex-wife or the ex-husband, and then someone's remarried, and then all of a sudden there's a spouse involved that no one kind of knew about. And this happens. That's an incredible tale she told.
Yeah.
And what if she called you guys and it was in Colorado? What advice would you give at that point during probate? Hire an attorney, and we've got to prove they weren't actually common law married.
Yeah. The questions you ran through earlier are the right questions you're asking. It's not clear cut. Sometimes people think that, if you live with someone for a certain amount of time, you're married, and that's not really it at all. It's, are you holding yourself out as married? Do people think you're married? And so it can happen.
If you have every neighbor saying, hey, no, they just were roommates, we never thought they were married, hell, they were dating other people.
A problem is with estates and probates is just like it's a zero-sum game. At the end of the day, every dollar that goes to that spouse, if it's a spouse, is not going to the daughter. And vice versa. So either this spouse...
And then she could because she's got full control of that money, she could redirect it to other kids she has.
Oh, it's hers. Why would she give it to this stepdaughter, I guess?
Have you seen injustices like that? Yes, really...
but it goes both ways. The spouse might be desperate. The spouse might be living in this house and they have no ownership interest in it. And suddenly they're like, I'm going to be out on the street. I need to, we were married.
Yeah.
So it does go both ways. Sometimes it's the spouse who is the sympathetic character.
So if someone has a trust right now, or they've had a trust for a while and they were married to person one, and at some point there's been a divorce and there's just been differences now. I don't care if they're remarried or not, but they're not living together. And let's say the kids are going back and forth or whatever. I mean, at that point, you'd be crazy not to redo the trust, or at least have someone look at it and tell you what could happen.
Yeah, you got to take everything out of that trust and do it again. Right?
Yeah, do it. And I said something there that's interesting. There'd be no reason to hire you, or in my opinion, any other attorney, to look at a trust you have now, simply because why not just create a new one, right?
If the change is that dramatic, like we're divorced now.
Yeah.
And I created a trust with my ex-spouse. There's just no way we're going to set it up again with the ex-spouse, right? So it's going to be a new trust.
It's going to be a new trust altogether. What a crazy deal. 303-713-8255. Two lines open. Dick, what's going on with you?
Hello?
Hey, Dick, how are you?
I'm fine.
What's your question, sir?
Well, I'm probably like a lot of people in the state. Insurance rates have gone up appreciably, I'm trying to find out if there's somewhere that is is not somebody that's being funded by some insurance company or some company that would tell us, like, claims rate, who has paid their claims here in Colorado. Because I've heard a lot of stories about people.
What do you mean, who's paid their claims? You mean what, for example, what insurance company is better at paying claims than others?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Compass Insurance deals with 30-plus companies. They're going to be able to tell you the best, and they could definitely tell you the worst as well.
Well, unfortunately, Compass could not find anybody.
Now, why couldn't they find somebody for you?
They said something to do with the age of my roof and this and that and the other. I've got insurance right now. I've had other companies quote on this.
Yeah.
My concern is that some of the, and I don't want to get into who's quoting, but some of the companies that have quoted, I don't know if in fact, that the bottom line is at the end of the day, is that company going to pay the claim? Number one. Number two is the claims, what you're going to have to go through to get them to pay the claim. Is it worth what I'm paying them to do?
I got you. Hold on. Let me take this break. I got a lot to digest there, and I've got a lot of comments on that. One of them is a company called Safeco that I have right now, and I had to fight tooth and nail. I literally know exactly what this guy's asking, as crazy as it is. And I'll tell you what I went through, and then hopefully I'll know the name of the company you're dealing with and can give you some insight, or we can find it out. The other thing we got cooking, well, we've got a lot cooking. We got one line open, 303-713-8255. Kent, you hold on. He's got a question for Dan as well.
When a woman experiences an unplanned pregnancy, she often feels alone and afraid. So many times her first response is to seek out an abortion. But because of the generosity of listeners like you, that search may lead her to a preborn network clinic where she'll choose life, not just for her baby, but for herself. Preborn offers God's love and compassion to hurting women and then provides a free ultrasound to introduce them to the life growing inside them. This combination brings the ultimate miracle of life to life, which is why Preborn saves 200 babies every single day.
That changed my life. Just from that ultrasound picture, I'm going to keep my baby, and I'm going to keep growing, and I'm going to be a great mom.
Your tax-deductible donation of $28 sponsors one ultrasound. And now through a match, your gift is doubled, saving twice as many babies. How many babies can you save? Please donate. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword baby. Pound 250, keyword baby, or go to preborn.com/hope. Preborn.com/hope. Sponsored by Preborn.
Joe Chiano, a good friend of mine, and on top of that, I do a show I help him out with on Saturdays right here on KHOW, and next door on KTLK. But Joe, we talk annuities, we talk money on the weekends. I've got to ask you this, man. I get more and more people saying, hey, tell me more about annuities. The bottom line is there's a lot of different annuities out there. The one you and Jordan have is probably my favorite for most people. Everybody's a little different, but you get the 15% bonus up front, which I absolutely like. You can also add on a rider like Deputy Doc has to where when it's tied to inflation. When there is inflation, you get more each month when you turn on that money. What else do these annuities have?
That is right. Mark, annuities are becoming very, very popular for retirement planning. Retirement planning doesn't mean just building an account. It's actually getting a guaranteed income.
Yep.
So our annuity, besides the 15% bonus, besides the inflation rider, besides those two wonderful benefits.
There's another great one.
Guaranteed income for life.
Well, not just the guaranteed, but how about the other part of it if you fall ill?
Long-term care. So that means that if somebody needs assisted living, in-home care, memory care, nursing home care.
And the principle, and people think this about annuities, Joe. This is one of the fallacies. In fact, I was arguing with a guy on YouTube yesterday. Your principle, even if you die the first month you start taking that paycheck for life, your offspring or whoever, your beneficiary, gets all your principal. You don't lose a dime in principal. That's why we can say it's guaranteed.
Right. See, there's a lot of misconceptions about annuities.
Old ones there was a lot of problems with, though.
Right. This annuity is a newer annuity that actually, really, I don't see any negative.
No, and let me tell people this, because Joe, I got to wrap this up, but here's the bottom line. I'm telling people to call you. You call up and get real numbers. Say, hey, Joe, if I put part of my 401k, like $100,000 with you, and then I retire in 10 years, how much is that paycheck guaranteed for life going to be? How much it's going to be if I fall ill? How much is my bonus going to be? Get the real numbers. Check these guys out. I promise you, you want an annuity as part of your retirement. Not all of it, but the guaranteed money is guaranteed money. MyMoneyMyWay.com. That's MyMoneyMyWay.com. Go there now. MyMoneyMyWay.com. Here's an attorney I hope you never have to use, Joseph A. Lazera. I love our attorney that's in studio with us. I love Bonnie Shields that came on. I love all of our attorneys, and I love Joe Lazera. But I need to tell you something. I hope you don't need them. But if you get caught with a DUI or an assault charge, domestic violence, even shoplifting, murder, anything, you need the right attorney that's going to fight for you. That's Joseph A. Lazera. We've already done all the shopping for you. We've been talking about Joe for years upon years, 15 years. Please put this phone number in your phone in case you need it. 303-429-6200. I beg you, put it in there. You don't want to Google an attorney after you get pulled over and arrested. You want to call Joe. 303-429-6200. And you still have, what do you want to call the game?
What game?
The Stump the Attorney.
Stump the Attorney.
That's what it's called? And are they Colorado-based questions?
Oh, yeah.
And they're all family law?
No, they're all like
estate.
trust,
Or
estate,
of course, estate planning.
And criminal.
I sit up at night thinking, okay, let's see, who's our guest?
What's that?
I'll come up with some questions tomorrow.
Mark, quick minute. We both have Safeco. I had 2 claims within 3 years. 13,000, 67,000. I got kicked off.
Yeah.
How do you stay on?
I've only had one claim with them.
Oh.
Drew says he has an urgent update.
Yeah, I can't go number 2 anymore.
It doesn't matter. I'm used to getting new insurance every year. It just doesn't matter. Dude, if you guys knew how much I paid in insurance, it would just blow you away. Our house, we're in the woods.
Yeah, I know.
Between property taxes and insurance, over 30,000 just for those two.
Did your property tax go up?
Oh my
about
God!
20%?
It almost doubled. Yep, almost doubled.
The long term.
Mine did.
And then when the RV garage kicks in, once Douglas County I mean, they came out, I did all the permitting, it's massive, and they still don't know it exists as far as taxes, but it's going to add a shitload soon as it pops up. And I don't even know how that works. I'm sure as hell not going to say anything.
Does anybody want anything with the virtual?
No, thank you, sir.
Good, thanks. And shoot a poodle.
I'm good.
All right, 303-713-8255, 303 Martino. By the way, this hour brought to you by Paul the Waterman. Man, he's got the best systems out there. He's got one for, listen to this, less than $3,600. This thing does the water softening. It gets rid of chlorine. And then on top of that, probably my favorite part of it. Well, I like the water softening. He did our water softener. Check this out. It gets rid of forever chemicals in your entire house. All the water you, your family, your kids drink, all these forever chemicals you hear about, they're not going to be in your water supply. Under $3,600, whole house. We're not talking point of use under one sink. The entire house, water softening, forever chemicals gone, and the chlorine brought down. It's an unbelievable deal. Under $3,600. The competition is over 10 grand. I've seen them as high as 15. Check them out at waterpros.net. Waterpros.net. Now, Dick, you had a question on insurance companies. I'm going to tell you something, Dick. I can't stand any of them right now. I really can't. Which one are you looking at? I'm going to tell you my thing with Safeco. Safeco told me, pound sand, you don't have any damage. I got Matt involved, and I don't want to get into Paragon Services, but he's a public adjuster. But basically, he came out, and I just got settlement yesterday for $37,000. So I went from you don't have any damage to a check for $37,000. And it took me over a year. It took me a year to get it. Now, it wasn't Safeco, but it was the insurance company I had right before Safeco 5 years ago. Hailstorm, I call them up. They say no damage. About 6 months later, I see both my neighbors getting a new roof. I called Matt at Paragon back then, too. He came out $80,000. Both times, two different insurance companies, and Safeco's supposed to be a good one. Both of them said, sorry, you're not getting any scratch from us. And both times, after I got a public adjuster involved, I got paid. So to me, they all suck.
Well, and that's the problem you're trying to, or I'm trying to avoid.
Who are you talking about right now? See, unless if it's Chubb, Chubb will pay you, but Chubb won't. They might not cover you.
Well, I've got 4 different companies that are quoting on it right now. It happens to be that Safeco is the one that is insuring my autos in my home right now. Yep. My problem with them is that in the last 2 years, they've virtually doubled my rate.
Yeah, well, you're going to find that everywhere.
I decided I'd look.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, you're going to find the rate doubling everywhere. But who are you quoting besides Safeco? And they're not going to drop you or anything, right? Or are they?
No, they're not going to drop me. It's just that the price has gotten to the point where I say I've got to take.
Yeah, you're saying uncle. I get it. So who are you quoting?
Allstate, State Farm, American Family, and Farmers.
Okay, first of all, I'm only going to tell you, I don't like really any of them, and I have recently got quotes from all of them. I'm going to tell you one thing I don't want to happen. I absolutely don't, and I just knew this. I just know it from the show because I do this show. But so I quoted with Farmers and State Farm last year. I think it was around November is when my renewal is. And Farmers gave me a deal I couldn't refuse. In fact, it was so good, I was like, this is crazy. It wasn't an ACV. It was like a $5,000 deductible, which is fine with me. I don't care. And it was everything I wanted in a bag of chips. But I thought it was too good to be true. So I did not cancel my Safeco. Sure enough, Farmers sent out someone to eyeball our property. And it was too much for them. And what I mean by that is we're in the woods. And they looked at the trees. They looked at what the total loss could be. And they declined it. So I only had a 30-day binder by the agent that happened to be in Elizabeth. And by the way, if you're that agent in Elizabeth, you suck. You suck. because I told you this was going to happen. If I knew her full name, I'd give it out right now. I'm so mad just thinking about her. It's insane. I told her, is there any way they can cancel it? Is there any way? And I called up Brian Burns at Compass. He goes, you're insane to cancel Safeco. First of all, if you wait, they'll let you cancel in the rears and you'll get all that money. It's not like you can have double insurance, but the bottom line is that. So if anything comes out of this conversation that I'm dominating with you, Dick, it's this. You do not cancel that damn Safeco until you have a fully operational, not some 30 or 60 day binder from the agency, but every one of those companies you named suck, in my opinion.
Okay. Excuse me, and that's what I was trying to find out, or if there was somewhere that would tell you their claims paying frequency or the difficulty of working.
Dick, they all suck. I just told you the last two I had, I literally had to threaten legal action and hire a public adjuster to get paid. They outright denied claims.
Sure.
They're all, listen, let me tell you, they don't call them adjusters. I don't even know why they call them adjusters. Has anybody here ever had an insurance adjuster actually adjust up? Have you ever seen that happen? Hey, oh, wait a minute. Wow, we don't want to give you $20,000 anymore. We'll give you $50,000. I've never seen that. All they do is they deny. It's their whole business model, in my opinion. Every one of them. Does anybody here like any insurance company? I love people that go, oh, I love Allstate. I've had them 30 years. And I say, hey, you ever had a claim? And you know what they say? No, I've never. How do you even know you like them? You've never had to deal with them. Dick, do you have any more questions? I'm sure I'm talking your ear off.
No, sir. I think you kind of answered my question, which is what I was afraid of.
Yeah, they all suck.
There is no place you can really go. I mean, you can go online and who's the top 10 insurers and three different sites.
Safeco, if you threaten a lawsuit, will eventually pay you. That's how it worked for me, at least.
Yeah.
So that's
I appreciate the information and
thank you, Dick.
I guess we just have to play it by ear.
Yeah, I just make sure the one thing you're not going to do is what?
Yeah. Well, they're not going to cancel the Safeco policy, which automatically they've got my credit card, so they'll go ahead and they'll instate the policy, and then what I may do is shop around and make sure I've got some other insurance.
Yeah, and you make sure it's not just a rider. Listen to me. You make sure that it's not just a binded policy by the agent. That's how they'll trick you. Then you're screwed. Don't allow it. You make sure you have a fully enforced 1 6-month, whatever term policy you're buying. Dick, I appreciate it. And if Safeco or whoever you end up with doesn't pay you when you have a claim, I will help you kick him in the nuts. 303-713-8255. Dan McKenzie, I get so fired up on insurance companies. You deal with life insurance a lot, right?
Yes.
So are they a pain in the ass? I mean, just say it. You don't have to give names of different companies. I mean, does it take if I have $1 million policy and I die, in general, how long does it take my spouse or my kids to get the money?
It's usually very fast. Okay. Pending, if the person who had the policy has named a designated beneficiary. I mean, that is a contract with them and it's pretty clear, then they're going to do it.
So it's unless if it's something like suicide in the first year or something
obviously
weird.
There's things that can lead to investigations. Yeah. We have somebody who bought a policy, really the person died too soon afterwards and they're kind of contesting that. So we're seeing some delay there.
What is too soon?
They bought the policy and then the person died within, I forget how much time they had before it's they were really going to pay out.
Yeah, but just like you said, isn't that contractual? Or so they're saying.
I think that was in the contract. Right, we're not going to pay for the death if it's
under 30 days or whatever. Yeah. So you're arguing that. What's the basis for the argument?
We're not arguing. Right now, I think they are going to get it and they're taking care of it on their own. So I've not gotten involved in that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does that happen a lot? People fall outside?
No.
Because most of those policies, we all see the movies,
Yeah.
The wife dies and the husband just got a life insurance policy, 6 months before for some outrageous amount of money.
Yep.
And she slips and falls down the stairs. But in general, these policies, like Suzanne and I, our life insurance policies, I think I locked in when I was 35 on a 30-year policy. That way, it doesn't get super expensive into my 60s. It's still very reasonable, but I got to keep it going for 30 years. So, our policies are, we're almost 20 years into these.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that's more average?
Sure. Yeah. And at that point, maybe you don't need life insurance anymore is kind of the thought, but you can analyze that. But yeah, I don't run into denial of insurance claims in that area like you do in these property insurance. And
have you ever been denied a claim on, say, your house or your car or anything like that?
Me personally, no.
Okay. No. But you know people.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
it's entire,
yeah.
All you have to do is wake up and just look and you'll see 10 of them.
Oh, yeah.
Kent, what's your question for Dan?
Hi, it's Kent.
Hey, Kent.
How are you?
I'm doing good, man. After that last guy got me all riled up.
My question is kind of relates to an estate. I guess it's my parents. They've recently inherited my grandmother's estate. They wanted to pass it through, but they ended up not doing that. But my question is, how fast do they need to look at getting into a trust? Because they have a will that was wrote 20 years ago. Their estate before that was probably worth $5 million. And now they've probably added another $7 to $8 million onto that. How quick do we need to expedite that? They seem they're a little old fashioned and.
Hey, Jack, is it just you? Give us a little information on the family. So your grandmother died. I assume that was the last bit of money that would be passed on to your parents, or is there another side that's still alive?
No, that will be the last. That's all here.
So your parents, it all went to them. So in other words, there's no, or whatever went to them, they now have, correct?
Right.
And then how about you? Are you the only child? Do you have siblings?
No, I have a sibling. But my biggest question is just,
how fast?
I think their will is going to be, outdated as far as covering. And what do we need to do to get this into a trust, or does it make sense to put it into a trust? I guess just looking for some guidance.
Well, okay, it's kind of funny because I want to ask Dan this because there's two perspectives here. There's Jack's perspective, or Ken's perspective. I'm sorry, Ken. And then on top of that, there's the parents' perspective. And I've always said this to you, Dan, like I paid for my parents' trust because ultimately I'm the beneficiary. So, I never thought, why wouldn't you? I would think a lot of kids should pay for the trust. I don't know why they wouldn't, but whatever. But when someone hires you, even if Kent's paying for it, you still have to look for the parents' wishes, right?
That's the problem. So we have ethical rules, they really are for litigators. But all attorneys are governed by the same rules. So the Bar Association doesn't want people paying for lawsuits, to encourage litigation.
Yeah.
So we got all these rules around who can pay for who. And yes, people can pay for someone else's estate plan, but it's going pretty clear, you're not the client.
Yeah.
And if they come in and say, you know what, we actually don't like Mark, we're cutting him out.
Yeah.
It's pretty awkward.
No, of course.
And
I'd say, hey, I want a refund.
Yeah. You might be a little annoyed when that plan comes to light.
But to go to his particular question, Kent's basically saying they just inherited this. I counted a little over 10 million there. I don't know the health your parents are in, Kent, but he does have a good question. How quick should they be moving on this if their will's 20 years old? But if it's only him and one sibling and basically property, there could be a lot of tax ramifications to them, huh?
Yeah, when are they going to die?
Well, that's kind of one of the issues. My dad has recently been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. He's 79 and my mom's 76.
Okay, it's urgent, Kent.
Yeah,
it's urgent. Yeah. He's got to have capacity to sign the document, right? He's got a 20-year-old will. The biggest problems we run into are it's not intestate. They've got a 20-year-old will. So the biggest problems we run into actually in probate process are their documents are way out of date and leaving. You probably have a guardian. You ready to go live with your uncle? That's kind of a joke. You're not going to get sent to live with your uncle, but you've probably got people in there that are going to be fiduciaries that aren't you, and maybe you or your brother should be those people now.
How old are you?
I'm 53. Okay. And I mean,
So maybe you are the fiduciary.
Their money I don't need. I mean, it's just them doing what makes sense in the long term.
Well, what makes sense is they go in and visit with Dan or visit with an estate planner. I mean, no matter what, even for asset protection, for anything. I mean, I think there's too much money there to, try to not hide, but try to, how do I put this? Not pay Medicaid. I guess that's the only way I can put it, or not have Medicaid come after some of the assets. I would say that's probably a little too high in general, right?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if someone with $12 million wanted to subject themselves to Medicaid coverage.
Yeah, it'd be kind of, oh yeah, exactly. That's the other side to it. They want to stay in a place other than Motel 6. So, but Kent, you got to tell them to get on it. But that goes back to the conversation that we started this with. So ultimately what I did is I told my parents, you go out, you do it, and then I'm just going to reimburse you, because I found that the best way, or buy them a bedroom set, or whatever it is, to where I end up paying for it. I mean, you don't see any issue there, right?
Oh, no.
I mean, because they paid for it, and big deal, I buy them some.
Yep.
So, but Kent, that's something maybe you and your sibling go, hey, let's, maybe you and I talk to somebody, call Dan up and hire him. Like we said, though, there's certain things. Yeah, just call him off air and talk to him about it, man.
Yeah.
Are they in Colorado?
Yeah, are they in Colorado?
They're in Wyoming.
Okay, they need a Wyoming attorney then.
Yeah, you definitely need a Wyoming. Hey, I appreciate it. Any other questions?
No, you guys have a great day.
Hey, thanks, Ken. I appreciate that. 303-713-8255. We've got someone's got a question on trust, issue with an HOA, and whoever's on line one, I pray it's not Drew.
This is Denver's Talk Station with Tom Martino. Now, Michael Brown tomorrow morning at 6:30 KHOW, Denver. Now, Impact Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Audible.
Yeah, still dealing with a delay down south of us with a crash if you're heading down towards Castle Rock. In fact, it's southbound at Phil just after Happy Canyon. Left side of the highway block, we've got to back up all the way up past Castle Pines, which is a little over 2 miles. Still a rather solid jam. Now, rock scaling has started in the foothills. We've got big delays there heading down Floyd Hill and out of Idaho Springs. Both directions are closed right now. Should be reopening here shortly, but be prepared. They could be working all the way up till 3 p.m. this afternoon. With traffic, I'm Jonathan Steele.
Tap into your well-being with Audible audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. Expand your life with expert insight and motivation for better health, habits, relationships, finance, and more. Start listening free when you sign up for a 30-day trial at audible.com.
Policy maximum limits. That's what John Fuller got Suzanne and I twice. You need a personal injury attorney. You've been hurt in a car crash and it's the fault of somebody else. Here's the bottom line. You need a good attorney. You don't want to call one of these people. You'll never talk to them. These guys on the side of the bus, the big ass and all these kind of guys. You're never going to talk to them. You want someone that you're going to directly deal with. That's John Fuller, Fuller Law. You want one of the best out there. You call John Fuller. Like I said, 2 times he got his policy limits of the other people. 303-597 4500 303-597 4500 VesteraTurnkey.com. You want to be a landlord? More importantly, make some money in the housing market. These guys find these properties across the country that are ready to rent, but more importantly, they're in an area that's up and coming. So if you hold on to the property a couple of years, you're going to make some big dollars. They have got listeners that have invested $200,000-300,000, now have over $1 million with Vestera Properties. They have also teamed up with Team Martino and his investment company. I want you guys to check this out. Go to VesteraTurnkey.com. VesteraTurnkey.com.
This is Michael Brown, and you know how much I love small businesses. If you're thinking about advertising but not sure about how, where, or the cost, then KHOW is the one place where you can get...
What time does it say on the clock?
No, shut up. Why can't you just say Martino Show, first name in question? I notice you have a dialogue with people.
Because
she's establishing a relationship.
Because hold on.
What about this?
I
want to hear
can't
this.
go number 2 anymore. I can't go number 2 anymore. I can't go number 2 anymore. I can't go number 2 anymore.
I'm going to kill you, Shannon. Martino Show, what's your favorite food?
I can't
What
go
color
number 2
sneakers are you
anymore.
wearing? Oh, my goodness. No, the weather's beautiful here in the DTC. How's it over there? Oh, where are you calling from? Oh, that's nice.
Megadidos.
Oh, shoot a poodle. Just barely. Just barely.
I'm going to have to bring Suzanne in for retraining you.
Yes, ma'am.
We got every line buzzing off the damn charts.
Yeah. Oh, yes, it is.
I can't go number.
If Drew comes back on the air, I will have a meltdown.
I can't go number 2 anymore.
This is awesome.
Let me place you on a brief hold, okay? I
Brief
just want
hold.
to place you on a brief hold.
What's your
okay?
first name?
Thank you so much.
What color shoes are you wearing? What's your zodiac sign? Oh. Huh. I'm sorry, are you Catholic or Unitarian or Methodist?
I can.
Huh.
Hi.
Political outlook? Who'd you vote for in 74?
What's your safety word?
Yeah, what's your safety word? Dash hound.
That's a good one. I go with orange because it doesn't rhyme with anything else and it won't get confused.
Orange rhymes with all kinds of things.
Door hinge?
Orange, lorange, forge, orange, cornge.
Did I lose
Does it rhyme with this?
I can't go number 2 anymore.
With orange.
R-R-I-E?
They said stump the lawyer.
Okay. All right, Sherry, you got it. We're going to talk about life insurance, and I'm certain we can help you. Hold on for a second.
So I owned the Goodyears at this time. I had a corporate attorney, Michael Kupez, and I had a friend that was an attorney. Well, a guy I kind of traded out with. I had both. The ticket was $50. So we showed up, and back then in Castle Rock, the judge for little shit like that would only come around like once a week. So court was always on a Friday.
The original circuit court.
Yeah. So, we're down there in Castle Rock. I'm fighting this ticket. I've got literally like 8 neighbors in the cul-de-sac. So we're a close circle. And I'm the outcast, the black sheep of the cul-de-sac. And I know, hard to believe. And this is where Bella went out and scared a person at risk. I'll put it that way. And she rode a full-size tricycle. Full-size tricycle. And she had to be in her 40s.
It's not even
So I'm
Florida.
just trying to paint a picture. And we show up in court. I got 2 attorneys. We're going to fight it. The judge is like, yeah, I've never seen anything like this. This is a $50 ticket. You guys should all go into the back room and discuss shit and then come back out. This is absurd.
The neighbors all showed up?
All the neighbors one side, me and 2 attorneys on the other. So we go back into this conference room. The DA or whatever he's referred to as, the prosecutor, ends up calling me an asshole.
Wow.
Okay?
Shocking.
And he calls me an asshole there, and then when he comes
There
back
you go.
and the judge, we're going forward, he calls me an asshole. All right, everybody, 303-713-8255. During the break, Dimitri, Deputy D, was reminding me of a dog at large ticket I had years ago. Maybe one of these days I'll tell the story on air, but I will finish it up during the break. If you go to our youtube.com, Troubleshooter Network, and yes, these are true stories. Unfortunately, I have the neighbors that remember from Castle Rock with absolutely no doubt, and one of the attorneys that I ultimately ended up getting it into with years later, but that's just a side note on that. Let's go right back. Where did we leave off here?
Hold on, I do have an update.
Okay.
Because, you kind of told me on the break that I'm too nice.
No, I didn't say you're too nice. Okay, listen. No. You want to have this conversation on air? We're having it. We're having it right now.
Because I need to tell you
Okay, go ahead.
that a very nice lady called.
Drew.
And no, not Drew.
Who?
It's a lady.
A lady.
She called and said the show is so good today.
Well, thank you.
And wanted to extend her regards to you.
And what's her name? So you probably know her favorite meal, what color shoes she wears.
I think her name is
what
Suzanne
the weather
Major.
is wherever she lives, and the other 800 questions.
Oh my God!
So let me tell you, my wife does it. My wife does it better than anybody. Now that sounds strange, just in general. I that could be taken in so many ways, but here's what I mean by it. Before Kelly, she would screen the calls. She's the executive producer, but she would also be back there. And Suzanne does what? Kelly, do you remember how we taught you back in the day?
Yeah,
Troubleshooter Show. What's your first name? And then,
I don't do that.
and you would say, example, you would say, well, I just want, no, what's your first name? And then they give you a first name.
I've gotten better.
What's your question?
I've gotten better over the years.
And that's it. Yeah, here's Kelly, though. I listened to her. People on YouTube can hear. Tom Martino show. Do you want to talk to Mark? Oh, by the way, what's the weather like where you're at? Oh, what's your favorite meal? Oh, do you like pie?
That is so not
I
true.
love pie.
I was
do you like
simply
loafers
passing
or sneakers?
on a compliment,
Oh.
Mark.
Huh. Now, wait a minute. Shannon, I want to bring you in on this real quick.
Yeah, you should break first.
No, I do got to break. That's Kelly's fault as well. Hold on.
Now, Impact Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Audible.
Yeah, still dealing with a delay down south of us with a crash if you're heading down towards Castle Rock. In fact, it's southbound at still just after Happy Canyon. Left side of the highway block, we've got to back up all the way up past Castle Pines, which is a little over 2 miles. Still a rather solid jam. Now, rock scaling has started in the foothills. We've got big delays there. Heading down Floyd Hill and out of Idaho Springs. Both directions are closed right now. Should be reopening here shortly, but be prepared. They could be working all the way up till 3 p.m. this afternoon. With traffic, I'm Jonathan Steele.
Tap into your well-being with Audible audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. Expand your life with expert insight and motivation for better health, habits, relationships, finance, and more. Start listening free when you sign up for a 30-day trial at audible.com.
You know what? Here's a little troubleshooter trivia. More than 100,000 successful projects. His father's name is Larry Gravina. Who am I talking about? Gravina's Windows and Siding. Nick is now at the helm. Man, these guys are great. They're coming out and putting in a beautiful new patio door in our first level. I can't wait for him to do it. And he gave us all the options. I don't care if it's a fix and flip or a $10 million house. If you're looking for windows, they have got 20 different lines, over 50 different kinds of windows. They're great people, multiple brands of siding, their entry doors, luxurious French doors and sliders. They got it all. Gravina's Windows and Sidings. Check them out, gravinawindows.com. That's gravinawindows.com.
Done right. Kitchens, baths, finished.
And on purpose. Fire off become. I gave him an extra 30 during the long one.
All right. And I
Here,
see booties next to the door, and
Hey, can you? Yeah, Kelly can't hear me.
a little bit.
I don't want her to hear me.
Okay.
Is the prosecutor violating any rules of conduct?
Oh, I can definitely hear you.
She says she can hear you.
I don't know.
Look, you're going to hear me take a call.
I didn't say false.
Good morning. Thanks for calling the Tom Martino Show. How can I help you?
Yes, I'd like to ask Mark a question.
Yeah, I can't go number 2 anymore.
Okay. What is your name?
My name is Eric. And what's your name?
Aaron? Did you say Aaron?
Wow.
E-R-I-N?
Eric, what's your name, lovely?
My name's Kelly.
Okay.
Oh, for God's sake.
Well, whatever happened to Suzanne?
Oh, Suzanne is actually, she's the executive producer on the show, so she is doing,
Is it cold there? Is it cold in Colorado? I'm calling from Florida.
It's not too bad right now.
Oh, that's great. What kind of car do you drive? Do you like pizza?
Did you?
I like pizza.
Did you just ask me what the economy was like?
Yes.
the economy in Colorado is the same as it is throughout the country.
Well, I love talking to you. Right now. She's buying her husband.
I really appreciate it. I forgot why you even called. We've been talking so long. Hello? Can I talk to Tom? Is Tom there today?
It's actually Mark today. Do you
what
have
kind of
an
car do you
issue
have?
that you would like to talk about?
Do you like Metallica?
I do like Metallica.
I
Ride
do
the
too.
Lightning is the best album ever.
I do like that too. That's very funny. Well, you tell everybody there at the show. You tell Dan Kaplan I said hello.
I work for him too, so I will.
Whatever happened to the other lady that answered and would simply put us on air, and I wouldn't have to talk to him for an hour?
Okay, that was bizarre.
Kelly, who was that? You were on the phone for at least 2 minutes there. 2 minutes. Who was that? Shannon, bring her up. This is 2 minutes you were on the phone, and there's no one there. How's that possible?
Because I'm not really sure who the hell that was.
They'd never heard of the show before.
Was it Suzanne?
And they
was
didn't
she
want to go on the
calling
air.
me to, give me hell? She asked me if I liked Metallica. She asked me if how the weather was because she's in Florida.
All the things you talk about when you answer the phone.
Then she asked me to say hi to Dan Kaplan because she really likes him.
Wow. You know, it's amazing how you just chit-chat. A little more worky-worky, a little less chit-chatty-chatty.
No.
Are you hiring at the office, Dan?
Has she received her "What did you do last week" email?
Yeah, no. I'm going to send Kelly an email. I want 5 things that you did.
We're all getting
today.
We're all being dosed? Okay.
I'm going to doze her.
It'd be hard for us.
I want you to list 5 things you've done in the last hour. Besides ask people what color shoes they're wearing during the show.
Did I really ask that?
Yes.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
My email would basically say I didn't kill a coworker this week.
And people would be proud of you.
Yes.
I got water.
I did see you got water.
Kelly's moist.
That was very good.
App and search tech stuff to start listening.
303-713-8255. I've got one. We're trying to get them on. I'm going to get right back to the phones, I promise, but we're going to try to get one on. There's an HVAC company out there that has been using our good name, our intellectual property, to be quite frank. That's driving me insane. I just got another complaint on them. The complaint within itself wasn't that bad, but when I looked at their invoice, their actual invoice, I don't have it right in front of me. Oh, yeah, I do. I do have it right here. Their actual invoice says, this drove me crazy. In fact, my blood pressure literally is going up right now. We are recommended by Consumer Advocate Radio's Tom Martino. Yep, that's what it says. They must not know that is intellectual property, but that's okay. That's okay because I've already had this conversation with these guys 10 years ago. And when we get this caller who's got a problem with this company, I'm not even going to say the name of it now. I see your freaking vans all the time, though. I'm not dropping it this time. I am not dropping it. We don't recommend you. I assure you we don't recommend you. And if we did, it was 15 years ago. 15 years ago. Allison, Jack, Sherry, I promise right after this break, I'm going directly to you 3 first. One line open, 303 Martino. Question on life insurance, comment on a trust, and an issue with an HOA. All that and a lot more right after this on the Troubleshooter Network.
Okay. Hi, Jack. Apologies for the rate. Not rate. We will get to you as soon as possible.
I looked last night when she sent it to me. I don't want anybody bringing up the name. Some of the YouTubers got big mouths.
right, we lost you.
Especially ones like Sherry. Do we have Dragon or Shannon?
Dragon in a minute. We had 100 more people on YouTube yesterday than today. Who was with that? Must be Drew.
122.
Drew.
It was 212.
Those 200. This enema stories, they're riveting.
Wasn't it?
It's good for ratings.
No, it's not. I totally disagree.
No, I'm kidding, Mark. I was being
God, I totally disagree. And yesterday was total 456 total. To give you an idea, 533, 555, 571, 511, 424, 475, 534.
Can you tell at what point people turn off? Is it like a big drop off?
On YouTube? Yeah, on YouTube you can see. Usually it's not like that, though. It's weird. Usually our last third and fourth hour. And then if I hit it like every 15 minutes, I mean, I can pack them in there, but it's not really natural. Although, I don't know. We used to push it out on Facebook. I could have thousands at one time.
Why not?
Well, you pay for it.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, but then you do grow your audience over time. You know, if you capture them, you get them, you pay for them to come look, but if they like you, then they keep coming in.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Yeah. And that's free after that, right? They come back.
Yeah, if they come back, it's free. And they won't, apparently Facebook won't advertise to that same person, you know.
How do you make money on Facebook?
Same way with YouTube. You can do, once you have over, I think, 10,000, you can, if you have 10,000 active, I think, on YouTube, they pay you something. I don't know how much it is. I mean, it's nothing big. You get, 100 million, something big.
Well, how does it really, like, Dan Bongino used to make millions of dollars a year with his show.
Advertising.
It's strictly through ads.
Oh, big
Their
time.
own ads.
Yeah, even the influencers, all they're doing is advertising, whatever.
But that was a podcast, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's quitting that to
Yeah.
work at the FBI now.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
He's pissing off all the right people.
He's going to go work for the FBI. Huh?
He is second in charge.
It's crazy.
They should take all the three-letter organizations and make it one. They could easily do that.
Yeah, well, get rid of most of them. And then what's left, see what letters are left. Dan, I got your text, your test email.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Just listen to the PSA. I'm just happy to get my service done.
Oh, shit, you would listen to that?
This is the same one over and over.
Oh, there's that damn Saab guy.
I haven't remotely
You better watch out, Saab.
a year.
Did you see the video of that near miss in Chicago?
I saw the headline.
Oh, I just watched the high-quality video.
Let me see it.
Oh, I need to find it. Hold on. So it's
Yeah, let me know when you see it. Is it in the air or on the ground?
shot from the ground.
They're in the air?
Southwest.
I can't go number 2 anymore.
Okay. And another jet, an incursion occurs right in front of them, and they take off. They go around.
So it's two landing?
There's one landing, the other one is
I
crossing.
can't go number 2 anymore.
Holy
I've been playing it off the air. I caught it up around, turned off. Right, yes. You run in here. Yeah.
I bet the flight crew crossing the runway was talking.
I can't believe you still
Oh my God.
Number 2 anymore.
He just touch and goes.
He's gonna go around immediately.
Oh my God! Did you put it on the button, Mark?
It's got to be the guy on the ground, right?
Well, it's the guy in the tower.
Yeah, we've been invited by.
Well, it's always the guy in the tower.
He's called about 4 times.
Crossing the runway disregarding.
Yeah, but at these bigger airports now, they have lights.
This is in Chicago.
Yeah, they
He's
have lights
also
at
crippled?
the intersections blinking. You don't cross.
Looks like a citation.
Oh yeah, I forgot
was a little
about that one.
I mean, small.
I forgot about that one.
Still a big fireball.
Yeah. Always.
Holy.
Rock blasting. Ooh, I bet-
Yes, I hate to ruin it for all you YouTube things, but I'm not having Drew on.
Come on.
They probably had no idea. Seeing it later, you'd be like, oh my God.
The two guys up front had an idea.
Yeah, I can't go number 2 anymore.
Well, I mean, unless you're totally naive, you get a go around. You'll
He got so mad at Mark.
The summer of love.
Yes.
Did I tell you
Oh
about
my
that?
God, Drew.
47 times.
See, he called 3 times
We did
yesterday.
have you on YouTube. We
4
got
times
a lot of
today.
people.
Now, were you hired
Time
as
is
a
it?
pilot, or were you like a regular policeman that
Yes.
No, enemas.
Can you imagine?
That's what he said.
Oh, did he? No,
Yeah.
that was what-
Him flying.
Did you make a lot more?
No, he's getting enemas. Literally, he's
They
getting
paid us
enemas.
like hazard duty, $125 or something.
WD-40.
No, a month.
I thought an hour. You're like a day. I'm like, there's no way that's a day. He's like a month.
It was back then.
Democrats are in bed with the teachers union. Join me at 4.
Ripped off, bad news. You need advice so you don't have to lose. We'll come running just as fast as we can. Troubleshooter's gonna help the common man.
This is the Troubleshooter Show. Now, Tom Martino.
Welcome to the only show of its kind. We're here to solve problems, answer questions, take complaints. Our goal in life is to make your life a little bit better. I got to tell everybody out there, you should join us on YouTube. You go to youtube.com, type in Troubleshooter Network if you're new to the show. Share it with people. You can not only watch us, but you can hear us talk during the breaks outside of the commercials. It's kind of cool. But 303-713-8255 is the number to call right now, or 303-Martino. Any questions you have. Attorney Dan McKenzie sits to my left, Deputy D to my right. Across the table, Deputy Chopper. He used to fly helicopters for, was it Denver PD, Chopper, or was it a Denver, does the county have choppers?
No, it's a different situation in Denver. Denver is a city and county.
Yeah, I know.
And the police department is basically
everything.
It
is. So they don't have Denver County sheriffs.
Yes, we do, but they're mainly court officers and subpoena servers and officers of the court.
I understand. Now, we talk a lot about, and I'll go right to the phones here, but people make fun, hanging out at the donut store. We've all heard that. Hell, we've all seen it. How much truth is there? Are a lot of cops, so I'm just asking you because you were Denver PD. So are a lot of them lazy and are always at the donut store or what?
I had a Mr. Donut in my area, and I had a booth with my name on it.
I believe that, actually.
Okay.
I guess, he's in jest, but at the same time, a little truth, right?
I did all my reports there.
You did, literally.
Yeah, I mean, literally, it was somewhere to go where you can write with a flat table in front of you.
And eat donuts.
After a while, you get tired of donuts.
Now, if you buy them one at a time, once you hit 12, do you get the 13th free, the baker's dozen? Does that come?
Sir, what was the word you said? Buy?
Yeah, you know what? That's the other thing. Yeah, they don't buy donuts, do they? I mean, we've all heard this. I wonder how true that is.
The place never got stuck up while I was there.
I bet you it never did. All right, 303-713-8255. Allison, what is your question?
Oh, Mark, I'm president of a small townhouse development, and it's lovely. And we have a lovely HOA board, and we have a management company. But we face what many townhouses and condos face in that insurance is incredibly horrible.
Yeah.
And we lost our one insurance policy. Our management company scrabbled around really, really, really hard and found another one for us where we didn't have to suffer a great increase this year over last year.
That's amazing.
Nice. Yeah. But the problem is the management company is now pushing hard that each one of our 24 homeowners buys their own internal and external insurance policy.
Well, then why did they? It doesn't sound like you went with a new insurance company at all then. If they found another one where it didn't increase that much, what is that insurance company for if the residents are going to be covering the external?
Well, that's why I think the idea is that company is only going to be covering us for this year. And when it comes to the end of the year, when we have to get a new policy, and we are being encouraged to, and this is not struck in the rules and regulations yet.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of conversation.
Well, why do you think, but hold on, Allison, why is this conversation even taking place? Why would an insurance company go ahead and cover you guys this year in a normal capacity instead of each, tenant paying something compared to and saying we're not going to cover you next year? Was there a big claim this year?
No, there was no big claim. It's just that I think it might be fear. I really don't know the motivation of what's going on. But I think that the management company had such a difficult time in finding a company.
They just want to have a backup plan?
Yeah, I think this is Plan B in the works in anticipation of the new insurance company bailing out on them as well.
Right.
Well, what is the quote on the new, or you don't even have one yet?
No, we don't. And if we do, then we do. We've paid for this year on the company, but nobody's been asked of the 24 homeowners. The board hasn't said, well, now you need to go out and start pricing your own insurance policies, because the decision hasn't been made. And as the president, I feel that I need to be better informed. How many townhouse associations right now have gone to individual policies? I'm not sure where to go. I asked my insurance guy,
Hey,
and
Kelly,
he didn't even answer me.
Yeah, hold on, Allison. Hey, Kelly, get Brian Burns on for me. I've got some questions for him with Compass Insurance. Hold on, all right, Allison? I'm sorry, go ahead. You were saying something.
Oh, well, the point is, what are the pros and what are the cons?
Well, I got more questions than I do answers, why I want to get Brian on, but one of the questions I have, if all of you are covering your own unit inside and then your own unit outside, how many buildings are there?
There are 12 buildings.
So if
and
one building,
there are 12 duplexes.
Well, okay, that's fine. If one duplex or one building gets a hailstorm and the others don't, I realize that sounds ridiculous, but if something only happens to one building, maybe a fire, does that mean that only the people in that building would end up using their insurance? It wouldn't affect the rest of you?
That's possibly so. But on the other hand, in the problem of the way townhouse rules and regs are, that, well, everybody's got to have the same kind of roof or the same paint on the outside of the unit.
Yeah, but that's more of just the bylaws. That's nothing.
Yeah.
Just the coverage part, I guess I simply don't understand that coverage. In one of the buildings, how many stories is it?
They are 2 stories with a full basement.
So 2 stories with a full basement. Now, this is, once again, a silly question. If one building with 2 stories gets hit, if I'm on the first floor and the roof has hail damage, why the hell am I paying for a roof?
Oh, Mark,
the guy's floor's fine.
Well, I have an answer, because these are townhouses. Yeah. So there is nobody below or above you. You got the entire section of the building.
In the buildings, forget the did you say there's a building and townhomes?
No, there are 12 duplexes.
That makes up the whole community.
Yes, the whole community. Is
Okay, then
very
you would
small.
share the roof. So
Yeah,
I wonder if it would be cheaper,
two
Allison.
homeowners share a roof.
Yeah, I understand. I wonder if it would be cheaper.
And I wonder if those policies are even available. I've never heard of a townhome policy. It would be a great question for comments.
Yeah, hold on. We're going to try to get Brian Burns on. Just hold on, Allison, because I'm kind of curious with that. And then how about all the money they've paid in so far in dues? I guess they would just reimburse or I don't even know how you switch from there.
No, they got what they got. They got what they paid for, right? Which is an association-provided insurance policy. But if the time comes for everyone to insure their own vertical section of the building, then their HOA dues could conceivably be reduced by the amount that the HOA would have spent for an overall insurance policy.
Well, of course.
See
So
what I'm
then it
saying?
should go down in theory.
Oh, yeah. Not just in theory, but in practice.
How about common areas like a swimming pool?
Yeah, that's a good question, Allison. What's going to happen to your
I don't think
common
she
areas?
knows.
Parking lots, things like that.
I want to get Brian Burns on. Sherry, what's going on with you?
Hi. Last year, I purchased through work a life insurance policy for accidental death.
Okay.
And I added my husband to the policy because why not? It wasn't costing me that much more. Well, unfortunately, my husband did pass away.
Oh my goodness.
And
Sherry,
that was towards the end of the year.
Oh, the end of last year? It's that soon, or that it was only a few months ago?
Yeah, I purchased the policy like in January through work when the insurance renews, and then he passed away in August.
Okay, I'm first of all, I'm very sorry to hear that. I want to give you more time, so let me take this break. I'm going to come back to you after this, I promise, Sherry. And Allison, we're going to get Brian with Compass Insurance on to dive into that, because there's a lot of people in condos right now that simply can't get insured, or they're getting hit with special assessments that are mind-blowing. I mean, think about this. Your HOA tells everybody, okay, you got to cough up $8,000 each in order for us to get insurance. It's getting bad out there. Hold tight.
So what if one people in that duplex said, we're going with Safeco, but the duplex next door said, we're going with Allstate.
Hey, Dragon, we're going to play Stump the Attorney in a little bit. Can you bring up the do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and then a buzzer if you have one, because if Dan's wrong, we're going to buzz him.
Oh.
Although I'm not sure how we'd know if he was wrong.
You seem to know the answer because of what you're talking. What is the difference between a condominium?
K&H Home Solutions, now featuring Alpin windows. These guys are unbelievable. I need to tell you about these windows, though. They are made right here in Colorado. They're energy efficient. They're absolutely beautiful. Of course, custom fits, very low maintenance. They're gorgeous windows that basically have the same R factor as drywall with insulation. They're unbelievable. You can call for more information. But K&H has been around since 1956. An incredible company with that legacy. You know they're around to stay. I want you to give them a call if you're looking for siding or windows and doors. That's what these guys specialize in. KHWindows.com. That's the simplest way. KHWindows.com. Now I want to tell you about Vestera Turnkey. I'm going to tell you how to invest in property. You're going to buy a house and you're going to rent it out and be the landlord for a little bit. It's going to appreciate, and then you're going to sell it and make some good money. How do you do it? You check out VesteraTurnkey.com. They are the experts in finding these pockets around the country of areas that are going to be booming. Let's say maybe SpaceX is moving in to that state, or let's say Microsoft is moving into that state. They know the economy is going to start booming. The housing is going to go up. They get in before that happens, and they're great at finding these places. Then what they do is they find the right house for you and your budget. But we're not talking a fix and flip. They find something that's ready to rent out day one. Then they find a management company locally. They rent it out. You collect the check. You own the house. The deed's in your name. It's you. You can either pay cash for it or you can go borrow money on it. It doesn't matter, but it's your house. Then as it appreciates, you can sell it. In fact, you can sell it anytime you want. These guys only charge $399 a year for their service. They've been doing it close to 30 years. Give Barry a call. Check out all the information, VesteraTurnkey.com. We've had listeners, 200,000 investments worth well over $1 million in property now. VesteraTurnkey.com.
That's what and that's what I've said to people, and then other people come on in and say, "Oh, it could be anything." But a condo has people above or below you.
You know what she's going to say? She's only had
That's
this
what I had
policy a
always
little
thought.
bit, Dan, don't you think? That's what I think.
You think what?
She's going to say the life insurance policy's not paying out because it's brand new.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think it's because they're saying it wasn't an accident. She said it was accidental death.
Oh, is that a big thing that you hear?
I mean, it just...
Yeah, he died from natural causes or whatever. If someone has $1 million policy and the spouse is a beneficiary and they have kids,
Yeah.
and the spouse kills the spouse,
Yeah.
do the kids get the money?
Yeah, the slayer is treated as though they predeceased.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's the actual term, the Slayer.
Yeah, slayer statute. Mm-hmm.
Hello, Slayer.
That was just the band.
They opened for Metallica.
Hit that
Oh.
button again that you just did. No, hit that other one.
How about someone else at Compass, Kelly?
I don't know if Jeremy will actually do it. He's kind of stepped away from that.
Does it affect yours?
How about Brian's kid?
I don't think I have his info.
We need to get his kid's info, Brian's kid. He's pretty good on there, too.
Do you want the HOA guy?
No,
Okay.
no. Definitely an insurance question. Brian would know those things right off the top of his head.
I know.
It's a D2 policy, blah, blah, blah.
I'm doing my best here.
Make it happen, Kelly.
He's a hoot at parties.
Weren't you working on it? Put down the mimosa.
Exactly, Dragon. Listen, we already had this conversation on air. What I found out today is it's worse than I thought.
Of course.
She actually has complete conversations with people.
Yeah.
Before putting them on the air.
Right.
I mean, conversations like I wouldn't have with my own parents.
Longer conversations than you have with them on the air.
Literally.
Uh-huh.
Literally.
Not even remotely true.
Oh, my God. I remember one time you talked to someone for a half hour.
I do get people on the air that are kind of adversaries to coming on because you're going to kick their asses.
You know, here's what we're doing. We're having Suzanne retrain you. I'm telling you, there's 5 things you
let's do
say.
that.
5 things. That's it. What does she say? Do you remember, Dragon?
She just gives it in far too much detail than she needs. What do you mean a car needs a carburetor? Cars don't need carbs. That's like rice and grains. What are you talking about?
And what color shoes do you have?
That. I never said anything.
It's just an example.
I don't know anything about a carburetor.
Right. And you ask the person who is asking us about what a carburetor is, what a carburetor does, and they're like, I don't know either.
That is a car store in California.
Thanks for calling the Troubleshooter Show. This is Kelly. What are you up to today?
Oh, yeah, just keep bringing it on.
Do you want to come on the air?
Studios. Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors. TrajanWealth.com.
All right, 303-713-8255. 2 lines open. You've been ripped off, taken advantage of. Have any questions? Don't forget, in a few minutes here, we're going to play Stump the guest, Stump the Attorney, it happens to be today. And we're going to see how good our expert does. Something tells me Dan McKenzie, attorney at law, is pretty damn good at what he does. So I have a feeling Dimitri trying to stump him is going to end up being the one stump. But we're going to find that out. Meantime, I'm going to go right back to this. This poor woman lost her husband. She had a accidental death policy. She added her husband to a lot of places that, Dan, this is one of these things generally your employer, I assume, offers. And then, of course, it's accidental death. And the bottom line is she signed up. She added her husband, which a lot of companies allow you to do. I'm sure you've dealt with a lot of these policies, right?
Yeah.
And let's see what happens. She's apparently not getting paid or something is going on with it. But Sherry, give us a little more information now. Sherry?
Well, yeah, I'm here. So they made me jump through a bunch of hoops just to get the policy, or to get, I don't know what to say, how to say it, to start the process for the policy.
You mean to get paid?
To get paid out.
Okay.
Yes, to get paid. And yes, I understand it was accidental death policy. My husband did die from accidentally choking. And
so he choked on, like, for example, while eating. What happened?
He choked eating a hamburger.
That's curious. Okay, so he choked. And out of curiosity, what's on the death certificate? What did the coroner rule?
Initially, they ruled it as natural causes, but then once I spoke with the doctor a little bit more, they amended the death certificate to accidental death related to choking and everything else that happens when you lose oxygen to the brain and things like that. And then the reports at the hospital in the emergency room also confirmed that there was a bunch of food that was lodged in his throat.
Sherry, did this happen? Did this happen at home, or did it happen at a restaurant? Where did it happen? Was there other witnesses, or?
No, it happened at home.
Okay.
And we tried to revive my husband.
Who's
we tried
we?
to do the Heimlich. My son and myself.
Oh my goodness! I just can't even imagine that going down. So you tried the Heimlich. You called 911. Was it too late by the time the ambulance got there?
It was, but they said that they brought him back, and then they did a tracheotomy so he can breathe. But by the time he got to the hospital, he had already been without oxygen for like 30 minutes or something like that. And so the doctor said that he would never be the same person. He would have to have 24-hour care 7 days a week.
Pretty much brain dead.
He was, and so he didn't want to live like that. So anyway,
man, what a touching story. It's really, God, I just can't. I feel so bad for you. But now you're fighting. Let's fast forward. You're fighting with the insurance company. You had Dan McKenzie. When something like this happens on these policies, if the coroner ultimately changes his mind and puts down choking on a hamburger or accidental death, however, how was it defined again on the death certificate?
It was accidental due to asphyxiation, lack of oxygen to the brain.
So to get right,
there was like 4 different things.
And they're still battling with you, right? Or you
have
still
they denied it? I mean, that's not clear. Have they denied the claim?
No, but they're still investigating it, and they keep writing me a letter saying they need more time. They're getting more medical records. And I'm just wondering, how long is this normal?
That's probably contractual, right, Dan?
Yeah, they probably have some time to do the investigation. You said, when did you say this happened? When did he pass away?
August of last year.
Wow. How much is the policy?
It's $500,000.
Yeah.
But I think, according to the policy, that I'm only entitled to 60%.
Why is that?
Because he's my husband, and I think the policy would pay out if I passed away, the full face value, but because it's my husband, I only get 60%.
I've got so many questions for you, Dan, here. So, like the first one is, what kind of attorney? Is it someone, is it an estate planner like yourself that would typically deal with this? Or are we talking a different kind of an attorney for, basically you're going after an insurance company, I would assume at some point for bad faith.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you do here if you were in her shoes?
Yeah, I would talk to an attorney who specializes in denial of claims from insurance companies. Like I said, that hasn't happened yet, but I think you have a point. I mean, the point of life insurance is you're supposed to get this money pretty quickly, right? I mean, I don't know where they draw the line between, okay, is this a valid investigation, or are we just dragging our feet here to make you go away?
And from what she said that's on the death certificate, would you agree that that would generally fall under that accidental death policy?
Yeah, and what actually happened? I mean, death certificate's interesting, but it's like, it's...
Yeah, he was eating and he choked on a hamburger and died.
Yeah, that's an accidental death.
Yeah, he didn't die of cancer. He didn't die. Well, what would you even say on a heart attack of something like this? That would probably be, that probably wouldn't be accidental, right?
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of nuts, but choking on a hamburger seems to be about as accidental as it gets.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dimitri.
Sherry, in these requests for documents that you've been receiving from the insurance company, are they asking any kind of questions that might lead you to believe that they're looking for something in particular? Like, did you get any kind of an insight on what they might suspect or what their strategy is based on what they're asking for?
Let's kick it up a notch, Dimitri, and ask her. I mean, did they think you killed him or something?
No, I wasn't going there. But does it sound like maybe they suspect some kind of an underlying health issue that contributed to this? Can you glean anything from their requests that might give you an insight into their line of thought?
Not really. I mean, initially it was, okay, we're trying to get all the medical records. We got the emergency room, we got the EMT medical report, we have the death certificate, we went to the coroner, we went to primary care. Now we're going back to further back in his history for more medical records.
Sherry, is there anything?
Once they got all of that,
is there anything you can think of in his past that would red flag? I mean, I can't, because he choked on a hamburger, I can't imagine what possibly could have been in his past.
Yeah, how far back do they want to look? And do you have any idea what they're hoping to find?
Well, the only thing I'm thinking is that, like, back in 2020, he had a stroke, which made it a little bit difficult for him to swallow, but he always passed all his swallow tests. And he was okay.
Dan, do you think
okay until he ate.
Do you think this old stroke might be something that the insurance company is going to try to cling to?
I don't know.
Why wouldn't they make it difficult, I guess?
I would like to know what the policy says about a time frame. And if it says reasonable, I mean, I think the argument is maybe 6 months or something. But I mean, this is getting pretty old.
Well, the point of a life insurance policy is to provide the survivors with money to live on.
Yeah, how are you living now, Sherry? Just out of curiosity. I mean, you still have the job. You said it was your policy.
Right. No, I'm still working. The unfortunate thing for me is that my job ends at the end of next month, and so I'm really hoping to get this policy to pay out so that I could pay off my house.
Hey, can you see if we can get Marco Bendinelli? Kelly, see if we can't get Bendinelli up. Hold on, Sherry. Now, Marco typically doesn't sue insurance companies for bad faith, but I think he knows one we might be able to get on, because I would love to look at that policy. In fact, Sherry, can you send us over a copy of that policy? Do you have it in a PDF?
I do.
Send that. In fact, hold on. I'm going to have her pick up here real quick and send it quick as you can, because I'd love to look at that and send it to a couple of attorneys and read it here. I'd like Dan to see it too. I mean, aren't you curious how do most of these policies read, Dan, when it comes to timing, or they're just all so different?
Yeah, we'd have to see it.
I'd be curious what the timing is. And then what is a proper investigation? I mean, my God, if the coroner, if it's evident the guy choked on a hamburger, I don't know what that could possibly have to do with that stroke. I know she said there was a throat problem there, but I would still say it's accidental as it gets.
Actually, she didn't say there was a throat problem. She said that he has passed the swallowing tests. So based on what Sherry knows, he should not have had a problem with swallowing.
Well, Sherry, didn't you say there was some issue they were looking at in his past about swallowing, or no?
Well, that's my thought, is that they're going to try to say this is a pre-existing condition.
I got it.
But my thought was, I understand if it were a regular life insurance policy where they do like a whole health background check on you and everything, but this is an accidental death policy. They don't ask for any of that stuff.
Well, no.
So I don't understand why they're making it so hard.
It's so curious to me. I'm trying to think of anybody we know that sells these policies. I don't know anybody. You know what? I wonder if John over at Integra sells these accidental death policies. I know he sells like emergency policies. They only pay if you go into an emergency room. Isn't that crazy? They don't pay for like normal doctor's visits. They pay for emergencies, which is nuts.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. I thought your health insurance pays for emergencies.
Well, if you have health insurance, it does.
Oh.
Yeah, but anyhow, hold on. Oh, Brian Burns is up. Hey, let me look at the time here. I got to take this. Listen, Sherry, hold on a second. Hold on. Hey, Brian, I've got a couple things for you, but I got to go to break real quick, but I want to ask you something. Okay. Do you guys sell any form of life insurance, or you know nothing about them?
No, I know something about. I have someone in the office that deals with life insurance, but I could probably answer the question.
Okay, hold on. I've got two for you, man. We've got Allison; she's got an HOA issue, and then we've got Sherry that's having problems getting paid on an accidental death policy. I want your reaction to both after this.
And
drugs? I got drugs.
Right. Yeah.
I got aspirin.
The first few times you didn't.
Old-fashioned shit.
I tried it.
I think that'd be, God, I don't know. You'd have to find an attorney that's been down that exact road.
Yeah.
And we'll do it on contingency. And that's going to be a tough one.
Ball, like in Bugs Bunny.
That'd be a lot going up against him.
Oh, yes.
But I think I would have guessed she would get double.
He's got drugs if you want them. Do you want his drugs? Okay.
I guarantee you they're stuck on that stroke and difficulty in swallowing.
Yeah, but wouldn't that still be accidental death no matter what? I mean, he still choked on a hamburger.
Not the mimosas.
Well, I wonder if he was, supposed to only have liquid diet.
CMG Mortgage, and I'll tell you what, John Clace, he's the man. Here's the bottom line. These guys do it all. And there's no middleman involved. Generally, you're going to call somebody up that's going to shop around. They're going to add some points. They're going to be the middleman. Not John, and not with CMG. You're dealing with the bank. In fact, he can write a loan in every state in our great union. It doesn't matter if you're listening to this on a podcast. He can help you with the reverse mortgage. If you're watching it on YouTube in Texas, he can actually help you with a traditional 10, 20, 30-year mortgage. He can help you do a refi. He can help you get set up with the all-in-one, which is a first deed line of credit that lasts 30 years. That's what Suzanne and I have. So it's unbelievable. In fact, every bit we put into the checking account would offset any money we have out of the line of credit. Now, we don't have any out at this time, but if we did and we put cash in there, you'd pay 0 interest and still have access to that cash. And they can't close the line like a traditional HELOC in 10 years. It's good for 30 years. Tap into that equity. That's just one of their products. These guys are unbelievable. No middleman. Great rates. Call up, deal with John directly at CMG Mortgage. Check them out. Partnerinlending.com. Partnerinlending.com or 303-882-6679. I'm going to say it one more time. Partnerinlending.com.
Wait, I missed it. Say it again.
When applying for life insurance, you have a legal duty to disclose if you ever had a stroke.
Who put that?
AI over.
Yeah, I can't go number 2 anymore.
Typical life insurance. That's not accidental. Is it?
Well, it says disclose. You have to
entire 4
disclose.
phone calls I had to deal with your. Let's just say it was.
He's green. It's fine.
Yeah, but it's a life insurance policy.
He may not be. He may be perfectly sane, and we're all crazy.
Yeah, we're just living in his world.
It's accidental death.
But wait, this is a life insurance policy we're talking about.
Well, it's for your life, of course.
It's still got to be. It's either an accident or it's not.
It doesn't matter. To be covered by the policy.
I would say that policy. Here's where I'd say you're wrong.
Okay.
He doesn't say anything about a stroke, and he dies in a plane crash. You're saying that policy they paid for and have been paying for would be just null and void.
Yeah, if they.
I disagree.
If they say that they would not have issued the policy to begin with.
Well, then they should have asked the question.
Well,
How the fuck would she know what to disclose? Who would read? Who would? How long are these policies? 50 pages?
It's the application you got to look at. So now I would look at the application and see if it even had that question.
I don't even know if they have shit like that for these. Like our son has one through Walmart.
Okay.
And basically, he literally logs into his portal and hits check on the box. And he's got it. And they take it out of his check each month. And he's also got the accident one, like Aflac. Same thing. You check it. Do you want 80% of your check? 60%? And I'm not saying there isn't fine print and shit, but I'm saying I don't think a lot of these have that kind of shit you're thinking about.
Depends on whether or not he filled out an application. And if he did that application have that question, and what was their answer to that question?
But one could even argue the fact they issued it.
Unless it wasn't accurately answered.
Here, I'll give you a scenario. This one might resonate.
Marco, is that you say you're
I lie to
available,
my insurance
and then
company
you don't
that
fucking
I
answer.
have a Rottweiler or a pit bull, and they don't cover people with Rottweiler pit bulls. Okay? And my house gets hit with fire. And I've had the insurance company for 5 years, and I've had the dog. There's no way they're not going to pay for that fire because I had a pit bull. Even though I lied about having a pit bull. I'm saying it simply doesn't void the fact that they issued the policy.
I think
Or else there'd be so many gotchas, it would be insane.
Yeah, I don't think that analogy is relevant.
That analogy is perfect.
And by the way, why wouldn't the insurance company then say, hey, the guy lied about a Ryler, we would not have covered him had he been honest. So here, you can have your premiums back.
It just wouldn't work that way.
Shit, I better get rid of all my trampolines.
Here's what you do. You're on
Because I deny having.
There was at one point we had a Doberman and a trampoline.
Dan, if you lie on an insurance application and they cover you when they otherwise wouldn't have, isn't that void, null and void at the time of inception? In general.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Sure, there's a way. The Rottweiler had nothing to do with fire, but it had a lot to do with whether or not they sold you an insurance policy.
We'll ask Brian.
Okay, let's do it.
I can't even believe they do that in the public interest. There'd be so many gotchas. let's say that, okay, I got the Rottweiler a week after I signed up for the policy. What's that mean?
Does your policy
They asked if I had it, I didn't have it.
Okay, then that's a totally different situation. Then I would look at the policy to see if you're obligated
But
to
if there
report the acquisition.
was a mimosa in front of me, I'd definitely be.
I would understand if the dog bit somebody
Hey, Marco,
and I was
how
up
are
against
you?
a liability.
Denver's talk station, 630 KHOW.
All right, we are having quite the conversation here. 303-713-8255. I'm going to bring up my expert, Brian Burns. Brian, I've got you up for a couple reasons. Do I got you there, Brian?
Yep, I'm here.
So I want to ask you something in general that came up. People that listen on YouTube, as you know, Brian, they hear the behind-the-scenes conversation. We were having this conversation, Dimitri, myself, Dan McKenzie, just during the break in general. And I use this example. If I tell my homeowners, then we're going to get to these two specific questions. But if I tell my homeowners, whoever it is, I don't have a Rottweiler or don't have a Doberman or some kind of dog that they won't cover, and I actually do have one. Are we on the same page?
Yep.
And my house catches on fire. 2 years later, I still have the dog, had the dog before I got the policy, lied about it, and had the same policy 2 years later. Are they going to rebuild my house?
Yes, it won't have anything to do with it. The only reason that could come into play is if that dog bit somebody and then you were getting sued because of it. That would be a material misrepresentation on the policy at that point, and the loss is a direct result of that misrepresentation.
And the reason would be what I would consider the public interest. If an insurance company could deny that fire claim due to that dog, can you imagine?
No.
Can you imagine the loopholes?
Yes. No.
No one would have coverage.
That would never happen. Yep.
No, not only that, think about people with mortgages, most of us. Think about having a mortgage that happens. Now you still have a mortgage, you're not paying for the fire, all because you lied about a Doberman that had nothing to do with anything.
Right.
It would be incredible.
You would be protected for that. That would not happen.
Now, I want to, and that's with any carrier.
Yes.
Now, I want to bring that into Sherry's question. It's similar but different. I call it the biggest, best, greatest analogy ever. Dimitri didn't like it as an analogy, but I did. Here's Sherry's circumstance. At her work, they offer an accidental death policy. She bought an accidental death policy or decided to start paying for that out of her paycheck. She could add on her spouse, her husband as well. The husband would only pay out if he passed, which he did, 60%. If she passed, of course, the 100%. And we're talking about a $500,000 policy. But the math really doesn't matter. The husband who died 6-7 months ago, is that about right, guys? Somewhere in there. They're still holding it up. Originally on the death certificate, it wasn't accidental. But the coroner went back since and changed it to accidental death. Okay, basically he choked on a hamburger. That's the bottom line. He literally choked on a hamburger and died. He was brain dead. They had to pull the plug on him. They actually brought him back after 30 minutes, but it was too late, no activity, and that was that. He died from literally choking on a hamburger, and that is what the coroner changed it to. Now the company, and we're not sure of this is her suspicion because it's taken so long, and our attorney that deals with these kind of plans all the time, Dan McKenzie, is like, this is taking a very long time. Typically, the reason you have life insurance or this kind of policy is so whoever remains can live and eat and pay the rent and do all that stuff.
Right.
So 6 months is getting nuts. But they're going back, and once again, we're not sure they're saying this, but I'm going to let Sherry, let me lock you in. Sherry, you're under the impression they went back and looked at medical records, Brian, and he had a stroke. When did he have a stroke, Sherry?
2020.
In 2020. And So they're thinking that possibly this stroke, and let me ask you something, Sherry, that Dimitri brought up. When you filled out your husband to be on this as well, does it ask you a question? Have you ever had a heart attack? Have you ever had a stroke? Have you ever had a brain aneurysm? Does it ask anything like that?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. So then Brian, can they go back on this accidental death policy? Right now, the death certificate, according to Sherry, literally says accidental death, choked on a hamburger. Can they go back and argue anytime you've ever seen, because he had a stroke 5 years ago, that could have affected his throat, and if he didn't have the stroke, he wouldn't have choked on the hamburger?
I don't think they would win that argument. Can they try to do it? I guess so. I hate
That's what Dan
accidental death
said.
policies because they're, unlike life insurance policies, there's too many loopholes on there's exclusions. Whereas on a life policy, there's not exclusions other than for the first whatever year or two, you can't, suicide I think it's 12 months, is suicide not covered. But other than that, after that window, they cover any kind of death. Whereas an accidental death, it's much cheaper, understandably, but there's a lot of exclusions, and it's this kind of thing that can come into play where, well, was it an accident, or was this caused by a natural consequence or an illness or some kind of natural cause? So they can try to make the case, but I don't think they would win off of that.
All right, Brian, that's what I wanted to hear from you. Now, hold on, Sherry, because I have got another expert I'm going to bring up, but I got to take the break, and I've got Marco Bendinelli, an attorney. And Marco, I'm just prepping you right now. Basically, we have an insurance company, $500,000 policy, accidental death, and I'm saying this for Marco's sake. And the bottom line, Marco, is they haven't paid out in about 6 months. They haven't denied the claim. I don't know where this poor woman goes now, but the death certificate literally says accidental death. The guy choked on a hamburger. We're going to get to the bottom of this with Marco and Brian. Brian, I'm hoping you can stay on because Allison also has a question on HOA. I'm just running out of time, but please, we can call you back. Kelly, figure it out.
Now,
make it happen, Kelly.
He supported my position.
No, he didn't.
Brian said
Oh,
he
my God. Did you just hear him? That was like Tom. I literally was 100% right. He was 100% wrong. And he supported your position.
He said.
Perfect. Hold on.
I know you got to do this spot.
I just can't wait to hear what he's got to say.
Oh.
I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a golden nugget of wisdom. Dan, you see what I deal with?
Yeah.
Nick Gravina, boy, do I like him. Gravina Windows and Siding. He helps out the show all the time. Here's what I love about these guys. They have been around for a long, long time, selling windows and beautiful entry doors, and we're getting a new slider for our kitchen. In fact, hopefully we can get that installed in the next few weeks. I'm looking forward to it. Their pricing is wonderful. They feature 20 different manufacturers of windows, and they have more than 50 lines of windows. You can get very high quality, dual pane, energy efficient, absolutely gorgeous, but you can choose the price point for you. Maybe it's a fix and flip. Maybe it's your dream house. These guys also have multiple brands of siding. And like I said, they're French doors or sliders. Luxurious replacement entry doors. You're going to love these guys. And I love the fact Gravina's has been around for so long. Check them out at GravinaWindows.com. Join me and Suzanne when we're shopping. And you call these guys. They're great people. GravinaWindows.com. Or give Nick and the gang the call at 303-472-8462. Lazara, Joe Lazara. You know what? He's a criminal defense attorney. If you find yourself in a bind, maybe you got a DUI. You know what? Even better yet, maybe you got a DUI and you were innocent. You didn't have anything to drink, but you still got the ticket. You still have the court date. Well, let me tell you something. Joe can get up and fight for you. He knows all the DAs. He knows the judges. He's great in front of a jury. The guy knows how to fight for you if you're innocent. But probably more than not, you probably did have too much to drink, and you need someone that can cut the best deal possible for you, and that's Joe Lazare as well. Joe, it doesn't matter if you're up against any charges. You need that right person. You need that person that can dive in and help you and cut the best possible deal out there, and that is Joe Lazare. Please give him a call. You can find Joe, of course, at referrallist.com. And believe it or not, I'm struggling to pull up his phone number. But you know what? I refuse not to get it and give it out because I like Joe so much. So bear with me. You ready? Here it is. Put this number in your phone right now. 303-429-6200. 303-429-6200. Or check him out at lazarelaw.com. Now, last but not least, 888heating.com. Check this out. You call them right now because it's not super cold out. They're going to come out and for $45, they're going to clean your furnace. They're going to rip it apart. They're going to get rid of the dirt, which, by the way, is the #1 killer. The #1 killer of furnaces is all that buildup of dirt. And they don't come out and just take some spray can and spray a little air and say, okay, see you later. They don't come out and go, hey, you need to buy something. They come out, tear it apart, put it back together, slap a no breakdown guarantee on it. New customers only. First-time customers, $45. You're going to love this company. I've personally used them in our house, and I couldn't be happier. Check them out at 888heating.com. That's 888heating.com. Call for that special right now. It will go away if it gets cold. Okay. Now, hold on. I got to hear how Dimitri was right.
Oh, sure.
So Brian don't send it to that one. That is a completely different Tom Martino.
He said that it sounds like,
but they're going to lose, he said.
At Troubleshooter.
Well, that was a theory on his part.
And then
I don't know.
So it was the theory of hanging the hat.
Yeah,
they're both theories.
But I said it's a theory, right? That's why I asked her probing questions about what documentation there was.
I'm going back to the homeowner's Doberman. What part was I wrong on that?
Well,
nowhere. What part were you wrong on that?
Well, Mark, if you look at it from the perspective of, I think Brian's analysis didn't go deep enough, which is, would the insurance company have issued the policy to begin with?
No, they wouldn't have, because you had a Doberman. But the fact that they did.
If I were the insurance company, I'd say, dude, sorry about your house, but we would not have insured you.
In the state of Colorado, in the insurance board, and the judge would say, write a fucking check. Okay. You issued the policy. Right. They had the policy. Yeah. You could have went out and made sure they didn't have a Doberman. But if the Doberman did bite somebody, then that's a separate question.
Right. So I think you're right on your analysis.
I'm always
right. The Doberman situation. But I think in the matter at hand.
With the accidental death?
Yeah.
See, I mean, to me, then that would open up, okay, he stubbed his toe in 1975. And he wouldn't have tripped and fell down the escalator if he didn't stub his toe in 1975.
But the stubbing the toe in 75 is taking it out to the ridiculous extreme.
Well, but what's the difference?
So here's the difference. There is a more present incapacity possible here, which is if the man had a stroke to the extent that the caller said...
What do you think they should have asked if the guy ever had a stroke then?
Well, apparently it's a question...
It's accidental death, for God's sake.
But if your health condition led to this accident...
it's life insurance.
It's not life insurance. It's totally different. It's accidental death.
Okay.
Life insurance, once you're past the suicide or whatever, it's as binding as it gets. Accidental death, there are loopholes.
So... if this health condition contributed to the man's being susceptible to a deadly choking incident, then that's material to the issuance of the policy.
Hey, Dragon, can you bring up Marco and Brian so I can talk to him real quick?
So Medicaid is the backup plan.
Hey, guys. Hey, Marco.
Afford it.
Yo. It's going to be after the break, dude. Are you good coming up and hanging, or you want Kelly to call you back?
Either way, I'm fine.
Hey,
Yep. I'm okay hanging.
Cool. And then, Brian, do you want to hang for that other one with Allison when I'm done with Marco, or do you want me to have Kelly call you back?
Whatever. Why don't you just have her call me, since you'll probably be on with him for a little bit.
Yeah, I will be for sure, because I want to finish up with Sherry. I'll have Kelly call you back.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, dude. And then Marco, what have you been up to, bro? Hey, Dragon, am I coming back at all, or I'm right through break?
Right through.
All right, so I'm good off air, right? Or do I gotta? I'll say we're going to be right back. Perfect.
Lopez was there to offer his support. Will the former congressman make a run against John Hickenlooper for Senate in 2026? Find out Tuesday. Show starts at 2 on 630 KHAL.
All right, listen, right after this break, we're going to bring up Marco Bendinelli. It's a personal injury. We're going to talk about Sherry's situation, and we've got a lot more. I got 2 lines open, 303 Martino. Everybody hold tight. We're going to be back right after this. Back up for me.
Well, okay, here we go.
Hey, I got you, bro. You got me, Marco?
Yeah, I'm here, Mark.
We're off air. What have you been up to, dude? You still up in Evergreen?
I am.
Nice,
man. I had a knee replacement a couple weeks ago, so I'm a little gimpy right now. But other than that, I'm fine.
You're the second attorney I have talked to in 3 days that had knee replacement. That's nuts.
Really?
Yep. Bonnie Shields.
She had a knee replacement?
Yeah, so she had one done. She just got it all, working good, and she's going back in for her other.
Yeah, the first week, I said, I'll never do this again, but it's getting better.
Yeah, well, what's funny is most people I talk to after they heal, they say the worst thing they ever did was wait to get the knee replacement.
I know, that's what they tell me.
Yeah. How long has it been? 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in pain then.
Yeah, a little bit.
We're on YouTube too, by the way. How's your girlfriend?
You know what? She's doing good.
Good, man.
Everything's going good, man.
We got to go out. We got to go out to dinner or something. I'm still pissed at you redlining my car, man.
Well, I couldn't help it.
You got me. Listen to this. I didn't know it, and you didn't know it. When you went as fast as you did, it wouldn't let me use autopilot for 30 freaking days. Tesla locked me out of autopilot while you were driving.
Really?
Yep. I swear to God, man.
What did I do?
You went
I don't even remember.
Autopilot. You at the time you couldn't go over 85, and you got it up to about 150.
You know what? That sounds like me.
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound like you at all. Last time I saw you, I picked you up on the side of the road.
I know. That was kind of funny. Anyway, so you and Sue's doing good?
Yeah, we're doing great, man. We just got back. We were in Vegas for her birthday. Yeah, we're doing really good, man.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Just working, got some big trials coming up. Waiting to have I think we're going to have a big year this year.
Is it mostly car stuff, or you got anything outside the car wreck incident or car wreck stuff?
It's pretty much that. But
yeah.
We just got some monster cases.
Yeah. Truckers.
I got a nursing home case too, though.
A nursing home case? What is it, where they beat him or something?
No. Guy was in there for a rehab from a surgery, and they were supposed to help him to the toilet. Big guy.
Yeah.
6'2", 220, but not a young kid. He was older. But anyway, they're supposed to use 2 nurses for a lift.
Got it.
To transport him to the bathroom.
And he fell.
And so, yeah, they had a 100-pound nurse, and she's trying to help him to the bathroom. They both go down. His leg gets caught behind the toilet and snaps.
Oh, my God.
And then he gets MRSA. Got about close to $1 million in medical bills. It's a great case.
That's unbelievable, man. We had Suzanne's sister's ex-husband. His mother was in an old folks' home, and they had a gate out front that was broken. This was during COVID. Some guy broke in easily and basically walked in the middle of the night, brutally beat her and raped her. We're talking a woman in her 80s. Just brutally beat her and raped her. And ultimately, 4 years later, each kid, I think there was 3 kids, or it might have been 4 kids, ended up getting almost $250,000. I think it was $1 million settlement for that, but it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to put you back on hold.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, that her sister's ex-husband, that was crazy, man. Guy broke into an old folks home, young guy too, young, whatever, 30, 40, rapes an 80-year-old woman, beats the hell out of her, leaves her for dead. Her husband was in the room, so it's assisted living. So they had the bedroom and then like the outside. She didn't yell or anything because she was afraid if he woke up, he was going to kill the husband too. And it's just unbelievable what people can do. I mean, it's like, who can do something like that?
Has that piece of shit been euthanized yet?
No, they don't. I don't even think people get the death penalty anymore. I mean, it's like, I don't know of any.
Yeah.
Texas.
Some of the southern states.
Well, one of the Bushes, I think it was, I don't remember, I think it was the second Bush. I think he pulled the trigger on a dude with like an IQ of like 70. I found that a little wild, but.
So here's what I read in this lawyer's website. Accidental death policy does not cover the death because the coroner's report or death certificate may also mention that a medical condition also contributed to the accident. And my position is that's what the insurance company is fishing for.
Yeah. I'd be curious. But I agree with what Dan says. I mean, unlike a regular life insurance policy, they look for every reason in the world. Well, hell, even a regular life insurance policy does, right?
Yeah, take a look.
If you want to escape liability on an auto accident, just claim it's a medical issue.
Really?
Yeah. You won't lose your license, you won't get a ticket, and probably won't have any liability.
What if I'm hammered out of my mind?
I've seen that. I was going to answer, when are you not? I'm trying to be nice.
I didn't know this dope was that strong.
Yeah, I thought it was the old days.
Pickleball. Anybody here play pickleball?
I do.
God, we are getting into it big time. You ever been to Peak Pickleball in the Springs? Probably not. It is the most gorgeous, all indoor courts, all brand new, cement floors, just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Where do you play around here?
I play over at that South Suburban facility. It's
the big one?
Yeah.
Afternoons 4 to 6.
Tuesday at 4. Why won't Polis and Weiser address the crisis of teachers sexually assaulting students? Is it because the Democrats are in bed with the teachers union? Join me at 4.
Ripped off, bad news. You need advice so you don't have to lose. We'll come running just as fast as we can. Troubleshooter's gonna help the common man.
This is the Troubleshooter Show. Now, Tom Martino.
Welcome, my friends, to the only show of its kind. We're here to solve problems, answer questions, take complaints. We're here to educate you. We're here to make your life a little bit better. Bottom line, you've been ripped off or taken advantage of or need help from one of our attorneys. The phone number is easy, 303-713-8255. In studio with me, attorney Dan McKenzie. He's an estate planner. Any questions you have for Dan, maybe you have a question like, should I get a trust? Should I get a will? You get the idea, but any questions. Maybe you need to just understand probate. Do I have to open probate? There's different things all of our experts are here for. Right now, I've got Marco Bendinelli, an attorney who's on our hotline, and he's called in, or actually we reached out to Marco. Marco, I'm going to recap really quick for everybody that just joined us, but here's the bottom line. Sherry has a accidental death policy, and on the accidental death policy, basically it was given to her by her work. I assume she basically, if it's like my son's who works for Walmart, you basically go into the portal and you just opt in and they start taking it out of the check. But Sherry, did you fill out any paperwork on this accidental death policy at all for you or your husband?
You mean initially when I signed up.
Yeah,
no,
when you signed up. In other words, was there any questionnaires about health or anything like that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not that I recall.
So, and you basically pay monthly out of your paycheck through your company?
Yeah, every pay period.
So, Marco, here's the deal. What happened was, at first, what did they put on the death certificate, Sherry, at first?
Natural causes.
They put natural causes, which we can all understand 100%. That's not an accidental death. Then, as they started digging into it and talking to everybody that had to do with it at the hospital and the ambulance and everybody, they changed the death certificate to accidental death.
Who is they, Mark?
What?
I know. But who is they?
Yeah, what company is it?
The attending doctor. The attending doctor. Or the doctor.
Okay, so the coroner, the medical examiner. Are you in Colorado?
Yeah, we're in Colorado. In Springs.
Okay. But I mean, only the coroner or the medical examiner can change cause of death on a death certificate, right?
And they did.
Yeah.
They did.
So when did you ever submit the first death certificate to the insurance company?
Yeah, good question.
No, I did not.
So the only one that they've ever received said accidental death.
Correct.
And he had a stroke. And we don't know this. They've never gave her a denial, Marco, but they've been dragging their heels for a hell of a long time. He died last year, like in August. They've just been dragging.
The stroke was 5 years ago, by the way.
Yeah, he had a stroke 5 years ago, so they want to see all of his medical records. And Sherry's thinking possibly because he had a stroke 5 years ago, they might say that could have messed up his swallowing, and therefore the stroke actually created him choking on a hamburger, which, by the way, is what's on the death certificate now. Accidental death, choking on a hamburger.
Yeah, well, Sherry, you need to call me. Because, not only am I going to get them to pay this claim, there's Division of Insurance regulations that it seems like they've already violated, which really isn't that uncommon. We can get more damages than the policy amount.
How does that work, Marco? Is this basically a bad faith claim?
It is, Mark. And I'll tell you what. Sherry, you need to call me because I love your case.
You can get treble damages. You can get attorney's fees as well, right, Marco?
That's correct. Yep. You get the, and it's due, and I've taught on this. I've taught other lawyers on this, Mark and Sherry, I guess. So there is a statute in Colorado that if the insurance carrier either unreasonably delays or unreasonably denies the claim, then you could be entitled to all of the damages that Mark just referenced.
And Marco, when we talk about, I've asked 100 attorneys this question, not just about what we're talking about now, but the lemon law in Colorado uses this term too. And the term that you mentioned is reasonably. What is reasonable? That is so, what is the argument? How do you get to that point where you say, this is no longer reasonable?
Right. So, I've done sophisticated arguments on this, and really you use a combination of, case law, case precedent, and several of the Division of Insurance regulations. And, I used to work for insurance companies, so I know the regs. And they've got have they been sending you letters every 30 days saying that they're continuing to investigate?
Yeah, yes, they have. The last letter I got, though, was a little bit later than the 30 days. I think it was like a month and a half, and I had to ask what was going on. But they said that their internal doctor was reviewing the records.
Yeah, you know what? I would say that's unreasonable.
Sherry,
I
you got to
would say
call.
we are.
You got to call Marco off the air and just have a real conversation. Send him over. In fact, did you already send us a copy of the policy?
I did
I'm sending it right now.
Yeah,
I'm going to send that. I'll send that to Marco so he has it, and then you need to call him up. I'll give his
Sherry,
number out.
are you okay with that, Sherry? You okay with him sending me the copy of the policy?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, Sherry, we'll get him. Okay,
Yeah.
I should have paid this claim.
No, I like it. That's what I've always liked about Marco. He's straight up like that. Sherry, I'm going to put you on hold. Hold tight, and then Kelly's going to send that. But Marco Bendinelli, I remember years ago when we first met. I mean, we're going back 10 years. I think it was that year you were the first attorney in Colorado to get 3. Well, you're going to know the answer to this. It was you. But what was it? 3 back-to-back $1 million. They weren't settlements. They were actually wins in court. What was that? Oh, I almost used the S word.
Colorado.
Marco, what was that?
I'm the only lawyer in the history of the state that ever has gotten 2 7-figure jury verdicts, not settlements, jury verdicts within 30 days of one another.
Wow,
I tried 2 cases, and they were really close together, and each one of them had like a $75,000 offer. And I got verdict of 7 figures on each one of them cases.
I want to bring this one up. This one was so intriguing to me. I don't know how long ago this was, but a guy rented a truck, guys. One of these, I don't know if it was Ryder or U-Haul, but a truck like that where you move stuff or whatever. And it had a pull-out ramp. So you pull this ramp out so you can use the dolly to load stuff into the truck. The hooks at the end of the ladder failed. So the person pulling this big, heavy aluminum ramp out gets basically crushed by this thing. He didn't die, but I mean big injuries. And how much did they offer that guy at first, Marco?
Well, they went from 50,000 to 80,000.
Yeah, 50 to 80,000. Then you got involved. How much did he get?
I tried that case and I got over a $3 million verdict down in Denver District Court.
$3 million. Marco, that's unbelievable. Hey, keep us, long as Sherry's good with it, if she retains you, keep us abreast on this one as much as you can.
I will. I'm looking forward to helping her, Mark.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm sick and tired of insurance companies, man. All of them. I don't care who they are. But if I have a contractual agreement with an insurance company and they don't want to pay me, you need a good attorney to go after them because there's really nothing else you can do. Like poor Sherry just sitting around waiting forever. By the way, Marco Bendinelli, 303-940-8800. Hey, Marco, do you have the 30? Don't you have 800 attorneys still?
No, yeah. First of all, it's 940-9900.
Yep. Or what though? What's your other one?
But we own 1-800 attorney.
Yeah, 1-800 attorney.
1-800 attorney.
Yep, simple as that.
And you'll get us.
All right. And do you guys do workman's comp too, Marco? You still got someone down there good at that?
We do.
I love it.
We do work comp, all injuries.
Yep.
All accidents.
Got it.
Products liability, insurance bad faith. That which is my favorite thing to do, insurance bad faith.
Yeah, because you're sticking it to the man.
And you know what? And I used to work for him.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know how I slept with myself.
Boy, that's a vision I never want to have again. 303-940-9900, or why am I even saying that? 800 attorney. I mean, you can't get any easier than that. Thank you, Marco. We got to take a break. I got to get caught up. And Kelly, let's get Brian back on for that HOA.
It's awesome. This lady's going to get paid.
He's like, what's the one where Herman Munster's the judge?
So she has it?
And my cousin Vinny. Marco reminds me of my cousin Vinny. I mean, he's like, you would think he dresses like, I just can't explain it. He's very New York.
Okay.
Boy, I'll tell you, we've had some of the best attorneys on today, including Dan McKenzie, of course, in studio with me. But John Fuller, I've got to talk about John Fuller. What a guy. Both times I've hired him after car accidents. One time, this lady ran a red light. We were coming back from Sam's Club, all loaded up, had steaks, the whole bit.
Right.
Lady is screaming at her kids in her SUV, runs the red light, T-bones us. Suzanne ended up breaking her nose, had back problems. I had a few issues, but it was horrible. What John Fuller did was amazing. He held our hand through the entire case. He suggested different doctors. He did everything. He maximized the claim, and bottom line is we got every cent the insurance company had to pay out on behalf of their client. Every single cent. Policy limits is what we had. Then, about a year later, our daughter got rear-ended on I-25. She had some neck problems. Her vehicle was 100% totaled, airbags off, everything. Once again, Dan got us every single penny that policy had. And I keep saying Dan because he's sitting next to me. John Fuller is who I'm talking about. And it's funny because John Fuller does a show with me all the time. If he's listening, there's going to be hell to pay. But listen, you want that attorney, that personal injury attorney, John Fuller, Fuller Law. Please give him a call, 303-597-4500. And if you have been in an accident recently, reach out to him and talk to him, 303-597-4500. I'm going to do Red Rocks in fire it off like it happened. I'm going to do it. Make sense? Are we the only ones that do stuff like that? Dragon. We must be.
Dan, are you familiar with this law firm called Denton's?
No.
They're like this big international firm that the defendants in my class action suit.
Oh, okay.
Kelly, are you getting Brian back on?
I told you you'd run into the biggest.
Yeah, you said they're coming from all over the world.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see how this unfolds.
I'm going to talk to her regardless of what calls come in, unless they're for Dan. We're going to talk to him and do the stump the attorney or questions.
I just did. You ever heard of Denton's? Is that a hamburger joint? Yeah, you totally called it, man. You were totally right.
Yeah, we know a lot of attorneys, don't we? It's nuts.
Great resources.
They are, really are.
Denton's, 80 countries.
And see, I'll be up in my lawsuit game as soon as my daughter passes a bar this year.
Oh, is she going to practice that kind of law, though?
She's going to be personal. She's working for Caplis.
Yeah, but that's personal injury, right? From
Yeah.
Accidents.
So she can still sue anybody. Calm down, Becky.
Yeah, I can't go number 2 anymore.
That's Drew, my buddy. You know what? I almost hung myself in my home studio yesterday listening to that call.
Which one?
Drew.
He called 3 times.
You mean today?
No, 4 times today.
Why did he? What do you tell him? Mark doesn't want to talk to you, right?
No, I never said that. He basically was talking about you.
Great.
And the fact that you don't want to talk to him.
That's right.
You're very short with him.
That's right.
You're not patient with him.
That's absolutely correct.
And so he didn't want to, but he kept calling back.
So wait a minute. Let's just recap what you said. I'm impatient with him. I don't want to talk to him. And what was the other? I don't like him.
No, he never said that.
And then he basically said, so he doesn't want to come on the air with me.
No, I tried to get him on the air with you.
Why would you do that to me? That's okay. Finally, at least Dragon understood what the hell I was saying. He doesn't like me. He doesn't want to talk to me. I don't like him. I don't want to talk to him.
Right.
Which is all true, and he knows it.
Right.
But Kelly's trying to get him to come on the air with me.
Yes.
Well, because he has an issue. He has an issue with crippled hands.
Well, you know
I
what
can't go number 2 anymore.
Oh, God. Have you guys ever seen the episode The Claw on Seinfeld?
No, what's the claw?
George becomes a hand model.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's never done any manual labor in his life. And the guy before him had these claw-like hands that couldn't move anymore.
Oh.
You know why?
It's the guy from X-Files.
Because he would always relieve himself until finally he did it so often, his hands were in a claw.
He was played by the guy from X-Files.
Smoking Man?
No, the FBI agent. Let me see here. So what's his name?
Yes.
Well, the guy with the claw died.
Oh, he did? I thought, no. He had it like in a glass jar. No, you're thinking, I think you're confused.
I'm never confused.
The guy, okay.
This from the guy that didn't believe the Doberman story.
Your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. 630 KHAL, an iHeartRadio station.
All right, 303-713-8255. By the way, we're going to be talking to Dan McKenzie. Dimitri, we have this game we call, it's not really Stump the Attorney, but it's Ask the Attorney and get questions answered, and I love it, but we'll call it Stump the Attorney. So, Dragon, have that wonderful music ready for me, all right? You know what music I'm talking about? Do. Hey, is it just me, or, okay, I got to ask this question. I don't know. Who watches Jeopardy here? Anybody? Dan, do you watch Jeopardy?
I have watched Jeopardy. Not a current watcher.
I don't like the new host. I'm sorry. I just simply don't like him. I just don't like him. Am I the only one, or do people like the new host? I like the girl that was doing it from the
Big Bang Theory.
The Big Bang Theory. I liked her a lot. I don't know why What's-His-Face got the gig. I just don't.
Is he the super champion?
Is it Ken Jennings?
No, it's, what's his name? He does a New Year's ball drop and all that stuff.
Oh.
Ryan
Seacrest?
Seacrest.
Really?
He's hosting Jeopardy?
No, I'm sorry. I got him all screwed up. He's actually hosting what's on after Jeopardy, which is where they spin the wheel.
Oh, Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune. I can't watch Wheel of Fortune anymore. God bless my soul. And I used to love it because I don't like him. I just simply don't like him. I don't know why. He's never done it. I just don't like him. I don't know what it's about him. He drives me insane. Maybe it's because he was on that Regis and Kathy Lee or whatever years ago. But no, the new Jeopardy host is who, though?
I think it's Ken Jennings.
I thought it was Ken Jennings.
Okay, well, I can't say I don't like him because I can't even picture him.
He's the one that won so many weeks in a row. I thought.
He's like the record holder.
He's like the best ever.
Yes.
All right. Hey, Brian Burns, Compass Insurance. I'm going to lock you in. I'm going to bring up Allison. Here's the bottom line. There's nothing going on right now, but where she lives, there's a bunch of duplexes and like 12 of them. And right now, they were struggling this year to get coverage for the roof. Yep. Okay? Big time. They did end up getting coverage, but they're looking for an alternative for next year just in case it either goes up or gets canceled. So they were throwing around the idea. She's the president. Allison, you're the president of the board, right?
Yes, I am.
So they were throwing around the idea of everybody, or the management company was, of everybody chipping in and basically covering their own inside and outside. Have you seen these policies? And if so, what do you refer to them as?
Well, yeah, no, they're happening all the time right now. And you're just converting it from being what's called an HO6 or a condo policy, which is what they have now. They're changing their bylaws to force everybody to have an HO3 policy, which is a homeowner's insurance policy. So it's not necessarily chipping in as a group. You're just telling each individual owner they have to get insurance that will cover the inside and outside of the property.
So how does that work like on a roof claim? If she's got a neighbor, it's a duplex, and they basically chip in on the exterior, but the interior, they have a different policy, or how does that work?
They each have an individual policy that's covering half that roof. Now, almost always what happens, if one roof is damaged, you're getting both insurance companies involved in that case. But yeah, you're literally insuring half the roof ultimately with your insurance policy. You each have your own policy.
What ultimately is cheaper that you're seeing in the market right now? I know you guys insure stuff like this, but are the HO6s generally better, even though they're going away and they have to be replaced. But ultimately, when you do the math compared to special assessments and everything else that can happen, is this a better policy?
Yeah, I mean, I think what people are finding is that it's a better way to do it because the market for HOAs to get insurance for the entire structure, of all the structures, is becoming more and more difficult, and the deductibles are becoming so difficult, so high, that it's not economical anymore. And so what people are finding that it's easier to get a HO3 policy instead.
How about common areas? What happens then? Do you still have that HO6 that covers, say, the swimming pool area?
Yeah, they'll still have a policy. It's not an HO6. HO6 is what unit owners, sorry, I'm coughing.
That's all right.
It's what unit owners are having to get to cover their interior.
Got it.
So the HOA policy will still extend to the common grounds.
I get it. So there still would be one. You would still have an HOA fee, but under this scenario, when they each go to that, if that actually happens, their HOA dues in theory should come down because they're not covering the roof through the HOA anymore. They're covering it through their own policy.
They absolutely should, and I've seen where they don't, and that's where I push back for homeowners to push hard against their HOA because
why?
The insurance is a huge portion of their dues, or it should be.
Yeah,
and they're paying a lot for insurance. So they should see their dues come down. I will tell you, an HO6 policy, let's just kind of play normal math here. I mean, this isn't true for everybody, but I would imagine that an HO6 policy is probably costing someone, let's say, $400 a year. An HO3 for that same property is probably closer to $2,000 a year. So you're taking a $1,600 a year increase in cost.
Got it.
So what you're hoping is your HOA fees come down maybe $100, $125 a month to kind of make up that.
Yeah, to make up at least the majority of it. Allison, you got any other questions? It sounds like that's the way everything's going, though.
Well, that's interesting because I really just didn't know how common usage is these days. I do have one question.
Go ahead.
What if, I have an adjoining wall with my neighbors next door. So what if their kid, puts a hole through the wall to my living room?
Yeah.
And I go to them and say, well, your insurance company's got to cover this. I forgot to pay for my insurance.
Then, Allison, that's a simple one. You turn it into yours, and they're going to go after their company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the same as a condo. And I will tell you that I think more places would go to this model, except for you can't do it on a true condo, where you have units below you or above you. There's no way to write a HO3 policy for that because they don't own the whole structure. Whereas a duplex or a townhome, it's possible to do.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate it, Brian. I mean, really. And by the way, the Insurance Help Center, anybody out there, whether it's automotive, whether it's anything we're talking about, whether it's workman's comp insurance. In fact, Brian saved us big time a while back. Brian, everybody thinks Pinnacle's the best deal, and it might be the best deal in Colorado, depending on what that code is. When I was in automotive, Pinnacle was the best deal, but when we switched over to an office building and dealing with administrators, not technicians, all of a sudden you found us a better policy. So the bottom line is, I don't care if it's garage keepers, I don't care if it's homeowners, I don't care if it's automotive. These guys shop 30 plus different companies for you. Commercial, residential, they're going to find the best thing out there. They're experts on the show all the time. Give them a call. Let them start saving you money. Brian and his people call me every single year to go through all of our needs and make sure we have the best policies. They'll do the same for you. 303-996-9000, 303-996-9000. When we come back, Stump the Attorney. And then, Dan, you do, what do I got? This discount back. When people call up, I mean, you'll talk to them about what's going on and then give them a flat rate, generally speaking.
Correct.
Okay. Discount bath. That's Chris. Oh, I got my ass beat in yoga this morning. Coming back from Vegas. Quality remodels at a discount price. Not many people can say that. Well, discountbath.com can. These guys can come out. In fact, they came out to our house. Here's what I really love. The ideas that flow from their minds are unbelievable. We had a separate tub and a separate shower. One of the ideas, because we never used the tub, was to get rid of where the shower was now because it backed up to the closet and actually make the closet way bigger and turn it into one of those, fancy closets with the pull-out drawers and everything. And they do that at a discount price too as well. But listen to this. Then we would take the existing shower and put it where the bathtub is that we'd never used. Then we talked about, the commode area. Then we talked about the vanities. I don't care if you want to redo the entire bathroom or if you just want to do that old tub and turn it into a low threshold shower or a shower. They can do it all, and they do it all at a discount price. There's no high pressure. You have them out. They talk to you about ideas. They give you different estimates. They're great guys. Check Chris and the gang out at discountbath.com. By the way, you can go on there and get an idea of the cost right online. I'm not kidding. You might have to upload a few pictures, but it's really a cool website. Discountbath.com. Discountbath.com. You don't like Lost Dose, Chopper?
No.
God, I love Lost Dose. We were there last night.
That's a Yogi Berra saying. No one goes there anymore because it's too crowded.
That's pretty good. My favorite is inviting people to his house for a party. When you come to the fork in the road, take it.
Now, he was a famous baseball coach, right?
Both. He was the catcher for the Yankees and played outfield sometimes.
And then he became a famous coach.
Yeah, he became not as famous as
Yogi?
Yeah, but as a player.
I got 3 balls signed by him and Larson.
Wow.
Larson pitched a perfect game, and Yogi was the catcher.
Yep.
And he signed it. Yogi signed all of them in front of me. Larson signed the balls already. I think he was dead, probably. I'm not sure, though.
How did he sign it after he was dead?
He signed a lot of them before.
Oh, I got you. So
it's harder that way. It's been done.
It's even more.
Trust me.
I think it's being done every day.
Yeah. I felt, the guy comes back, the judge says, did it work out? And the DA looks right at the judge and said no, because Mr. Mager's an asshole.
Wow.
Said that right to the judge. And then one of my attorneys asked for a dismissal because whatever, couldn't even tell you what the real reason was, besides he called me an asshole. And the judge threw it out, and that was it.
Wait, but the asshole played a part?
It played the whole part in it.
Oh,
the judge was like, I'm not putting up with this. You're not going to sit here across and call him an asshole in front of witnesses and everything else.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Case dismissed. And I walked out of there, of course, with a shit-eating grin, looking at my neighbors. Now, when it was all said and done, we were all friends. Eventually. No, I guess you're not. I guess you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, well, that's why I was asking Dan if that's a violation of some kind of ethical standards. But,
yeah, and remember, it's not a murder trial. It's a $50 dog at large.
It's the same, the principle applies equally to...
Well, if you did that in front of a jury, I guarantee you'd get a mistrial.
Yeah.
And over a $50 ticket, and the judge that's only there once a week, I think he was just done. Yeah, I think he found the whole thing absurd.
Yeah, that's really unprofessional behavior on the part of the prosecutor.
My neighbors, I had 2 attorneys sitting next to me over a $50 ticket.
That's hilarious.
If you had to pay for it, it would have been much bigger than $50.
I dug in on that one. I had one neighbor whose daughter that was, like a month after, maybe 6 months, whatever period of time after, but not that long. A rabbit died. There's rabbits in Castle Rock everywhere. They're the worst things ever. They're everywhere.
No, they're wonderful.
Died on their porch, and she was convinced I put a dead rabbit on her porch. It was a... All right, 303-613-8255. Dimitri, are you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
Dan McKenzie, attorney at law, are you ready, sir? We're going to find out here. Get your mic on, and we're going to go to the questions. By the way, Dan McKenzie is an estate planning attorney that can help protect your assets. He can help you with a trust, a will, probate, anything to do with basically your life and your estate. I mean, he can help with that stuff, and we've known him here on the show for a very, very long time. He's our go-to expert, so now that I explained who he is, Dimitri, the first question.
Mark, a few months ago, I went to one of Dan McKenzie's seminars downtown where he kind of introduces the audience to his business and talks about asset protection. So that was my primary interest, not really writing a will, but how to protect my assets from potential creditors. And one of the things that I think came as a huge surprise to most people at that seminar is your creditors, they're not just limited to Bank of America, MasterCard. It's judgment creditors. And as Dan pointed out, we can all be in a car accident where we're at fault. We can all have a slip and fall on our property where we're eventually at fault. And so Dan and I discussed these asset protection trusts, and specifically these, and Dan, if I'm using the correct terminology, these irrevocable trusts. And I think we even talked about some that would be formed in, it was either Utah or Nevada or one of those. And one thing that came as a surprise to me is that Dan told me that when I transfer my assets to one of these trusts, they're not immediately protected from potential judgment creditors. There's some kind of like a maturity period of, was it a couple of years, Dan? Something like
depends on the state.
Yeah, but it's not instant. And so it kind of leaves me vulnerable during this period. So Dan, my question to you is, if God forbid somebody does get injured at my house, or God forbid I injure somebody in a car accident where I'm in fault, and this person becomes a judgment creditor for an amount that's beyond my insurance coverage, how much can they, can they literally like leave me penniless? Can they grab my house, my car, literally my every penny in my bank account, maybe the piggy bank I have next to the kitchen? Like, could I be left penniless, or is there some sort of minimum level of assets that's protected from judgment creditors so that I don't have to move into your house?
The question is, what would you lose if you had to declare bankruptcy?
Yeah, because you would still have a certain amount of equity in the house.
Yeah, you do have the homestead exemption, which is $180,000-ish.
That's it? So only $180,000 of my equity is protected?
Correct. And then you've got retirement accounts are protected from bankruptcy.
Is there any way people can get to those retirement accounts, or it's just ultimately almost, except for fraud, say, it just never happens, no one ever pierces that?
Again, the defense to having a judgment entered against you is to declare bankruptcy. So what do you have to list on that bankruptcy petition?
Wait, but would you preemptively declare bankruptcy before the judgment?
You could, yeah.
Is that better than waiting? There's any benefit to?
Well, maybe you want him to declare bankruptcy. That's a threat, right? You're going to lose a lot in bankruptcy, so maybe you don't want to do that. You'd rather pay the judgment. Let's see what the judgment is. But you tell them, I'm going to declare bankruptcy. That's what everyone tells, the attorney who's suing them. Like, even if you win, I'm going to declare bankruptcy. Is that a bluff or not? I don't know.
And a lot of that, your insurance company, Dimitri, like just using your car accident scenario, your insurance company is not going to be very happy if they can pay out $1 million and make it over, but you've got another $1 million in assets they're going to go against, because they're going to have to put up the defense. But I don't know how many people would try to go after that money. Does that happen a lot, Dan?
Against which money?
Well, let's say he hurt somebody in a car accident, like he said, and he's got $1 million in liability, and he's got $500,000 sitting in the bank. I mean, a lot of people are not going to go through the entire court thing when they can easily get that $1 million from the insurance company.
Yeah, that usually is. Yeah.
Do you follow what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I do. And my question was, if the judgment against this, hypothetical defendant is far in excess of their insurance limits, and then the judgment creditor wants to go after all their personal assets.
Yeah.
So during that
Why
time,
shouldn't they be able to?
Oh yeah, well exactly, and I'm not arguing that they shouldn't.
Right.
But so the only thing that's protected in that case is $180,000 in my home equity, my IRA accounts, and that's it. Nothing in my bank account. Nothing. No. How about my personal property at home? I mean, can they come in and start confiscating stuff?
There's still bankruptcy limits, but yeah. But I think the bigger question there is this. Is there anything you can do? Let's say you do have let's say you have $10 million in assets and you're willing to do whatever. Is there anything you can put people into so this wouldn't happen that kicks in quicker than, what were you saying, 2 years?
I think Dan's best case scenario that he told me about at his seminar was this 2 year, was it a maturity period or some kind of an aging period?
If the judgment didn't already happen, I could understand if the judgment happened, then you move the assets. But I mean, if you go out and you create one of these trusts that protects your assets, why do you have to wait 2 years? What is that?
It's whatever the state legislature decided was appropriate. I think they just don't want people doing this and then the next day feeling like, okay, I'm bulletproof. Like, there's no commitment there. Like, I'm just going to put assets in this trust and suddenly I can't get sued.
Yeah, okay.
Dan, are the assets in this trust also protected from taxing authorities to the same extent they are from other creditors?
Good question.
No.
Are they protected at all from taxing authorities?
I mean, you can get assets out of your name for like estate tax purposes, but if you're earning income on those, like, it's going to be taxed somehow.
I'm not even sure if you owe, just on a little separate note, but the same wave, I'm not sure if you owed payroll taxes, for example. Let's say you owed the trust fund portion. I'm not saying the IRS would do it, but I think if you had an IRA with money in it, that if they really wanted to, they might be able to get to that retirement account. I don't know. I mean, that's really for a bankruptcy or a Chapter 11 attorney, but I think the IRS is one of the very few entities that can do some stuff like that. I'm not saying they do it, because it's not good in general. Because why would people put money into a protected account that ultimately isn't protected from everybody?
Well, yeah, I have a feeling the IRS has their own special rules, and most of us aren't protected at all.
What's the biggest call you get from the show, Dan? Is it someone, like on a day like today afterwards, do you get people like, how much is a trust? I mean, or what do I need? So when people call you up, what should they expect when they call you up and say, hey, I want to talk to Dan? I mean, really, what happens from there?
I mean, we do get a lot of calls from people who just say, like, how much would it cost? And, I would shy away from anyone who will just answer that. I mean, without knowing anything about you, right? I mean, it's like calling a mechanic and saying, how much is it going to cost to fix my car? And they say $300. Like, great. Why didn't they ask me any questions, right? I mean, that's a little weird.
There's something wrong.
For some reason, people don't really see it that way with attorneys. Like, I just need a simple will. Well, I don't know if you need a simple will. We do simple wills.
But you're not hourly.
We're not hourly. We'll give you a flat fee. So the process is you can talk with our paralegal. You can talk with me or my other attorney. And we will tell you what we think you need based on your assets.
So, like,
and your
what
situation.
are the basic questions, though? So someone calls you up and, I mean, you're saying, okay, do you have kids? I mean, what kind of value do you have? How much equity into your house? I assume you're basically trying to paint a picture of who you're talking to.
Yeah. Are we dealing with a 3-year-old kid? Or are we dealing with
30-year-old.
Kent, who called earlier, is 53. I mean, that's a big difference.
Oh, right? It's a huge difference.
I mean, are we dealing with a family who's trying to do this quickly because we got somebody who's got an Alzheimer's diagnosis, or is this just young parents? I mean, it's a lot of variables.
Do you get a lot of people like, hey, my parents, I mean, I'm kind of in this, they're in good health, thank God, and good mentally and physically, but they're in their 80s. And you start thinking about long-term care and some form of asset protection, because a lot of people, look, I don't care what you think about it, because we don't make the rules. I'm not a legislator, And I simply don't make the Medicaid and the Medicare rules. I just don't do it. But at some point, if you've got $500,000 or $1 million, you can eat through that. A couple could eat through that in long-term care.
Oh, yeah.
Like in 2 years.
Yeah.
And they have nothing to leave to the kids that they worked for forever.
Right.
If they don't have assets and they qualify for Medicare, they can actually get paid in where they're at. I mean, in other words, they could be in a facility. I'm not saying people want to be in that facility, but I'm saying, you know, honestly, you want your parents to be somewhere safe and stuff, but if they're 100% out of it, I mean, I don't know what they know or what they don't. You know what I'm saying? But my question is, do you have people thinking along those lines? Like, hey, we work so hard and we want to leave our kids or our grandkids this money. And how do we protect it? What do we do? How do we protect the family house, the family farm? How do we protect the bank account? I mean, is that a big...
Oh, yeah. That's, I think I said earlier, that's our most common asset protection question is how do I protect myself from end-of-life care costs and medical bills.
And after you get by a period of time, based upon what Dimitri was saying, if you have that window, that 2-year window or whatever it is, after that window, they generally are 100% protected with these protection methods.
I mean, no lawyer's ever going to say that, right? I mean, the problem with putting assets into Nevada is it's still in the United States.
Well, but fair enough. But I'm saying under most circumstances, it's a pretty good strategy.
Yeah.
Dan, some states...
Hold on. We got to take this. Hold on, guys. We'll come back to Dan in a second. Then, folks, I'm going to give out his number. Really, this guy's great. You call him up, and here's what I love about him. You talk to him, you talk to his partner, you talk to the paralegals, they get all the information, then they come back. Oh, it's a simple will. You're just having your first kid, you live in an apartment. Simple will's going to cost you only this. Or asset protection's going to run you this. He comes back and tells you how much it is. There's no hourly. There's no surprise here. That's what he does. Hold on.
Now,
yeah.
Have you heard of this company up in Jackson, Wyoming called Wall Street?
No.
They do a lot
What?
of trusts.
Yeah, Wyoming's also got a statute like this. So, yeah, these jurisdictions all have these firms, and professional trustees, and infrastructure set up to take advantage of these firms. So, yeah.
No, they've been chasing my son for 6 months now. Debating whether he wants to.
Does he have some... Oh, to work for them?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Uncle Kevin will be in this Friday. Check it out. Sheridan Auto Tech. In fact, at SheridanAutoTech.com, they do repairs. They do maintenance. In fact, any electrical issues. They bought an electrical company, I don't know, 5 years ago, Lakewood Electric. These guys can fix any kind of issue, anything you can imagine. The longevity with Kevin is unbelievable. Over 20 years here in Colorado. He's honest. He's experienced. Very convenient, too. And their warranties, I always talk about this, better warranties with Sheridan Auto Tech than most dealerships. You get 3 years, 36,000 mile nationwide. Anywhere. They put an alternator in and a year later it breaks down somewhere in Florida. You're going to get fixed up, not a penny out of pocket. I love the nationwide warranty. He's got thousands and thousands of loyal customers. So whether it's just finding the right place to do the oil changes, to do that every year maintenance, or something breaks on your car and you need to get it fixed, transmissions, engines, alternators, brakes, you name it, they do it, alignments. Check them out at SheridanAutoTech.com. You're going to love Kevin and the gang. SheridanAutoTech.com. Yeah, that's all right. We're talking with Dan anyhow. I try to always end with the yes.
I have another super quick question for Dan if there's time.
There should be.
Great.
Prep them. What is it? What's the question?
Oh, Dan, do you really want me to tell you, or do you want it to be a surprise?
Why would I want it to be a surprise?
Well, I think.
What's your
Pastor,
favorite
shoe? Some states allow a greater protection of homes. Like
Yes.
I think Florida is
Yep.
one of them, where
Florida's
like maybe the entire home is protected. Can I sneak my home into a Florida trust?
Even though it's here?
Yeah, even though.
Oh, that's
both,
a hell of a good question.
Both.
No, I don't think so.
If it's real property, it has to be in that state.
Is it a revocable trust and all that?
Well, it would be up to you. Like I don't.
No, I've never heard of that.
Oh,
everybody would do that.
Everybody, literally. Every attorney would be in Florida.
But Dan, if you figure out a way to do it, then everybody would have to hire you to do it.
Well, yeah.
What would the towing cost be?
Mark, I think that's yours. That's your car.
Oh.
And then you wonder why there's police departments.
Well, then I won't answer the question because that was too simple.
You know what today is?
Yeah, it's Craig's guy.
Yeah. Even with the wind, I can still handle a shake.
Calm down.
Yeah. Well, it's been going back and forth.
Do you
Give
do
me 5 years
anything
and I'll be on
offshore?
this shit.
I don't. Blake does. Blake,
So
my
you'd send
predecessor.
him that way?
I send him to Blake, yeah.
Yeah. How does crypto work?
It's like anything else, really.
Just put it into a trust, whatever the account
Into
is.
a trust, yeah. Obviously, your trustee needs to know how to access it and where it is. And it's a problem that there's no facility to go to, right?
Could we really?
Well, it wasn't long ago. I mean, like we talked, I think I called you on air last week about an iPhone. Now you can get a court order. Well, they'll open it up. I mean, whatever you got to do to go through the hoops, there's hoops, but it wasn't long ago, man. There was nothing. You would never get into that iPhone. Hell, the FBI couldn't get into them. That would be weird. Imagine crypto. Someone dies, you have no idea what their key is. I mean, is there ways to get that?
No. That's the whole point.
That's the whole point of crypto. God, isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
I'd like to see someone memorize that 256-bit. What is that? 256 million characters?
Yeah.
You know, there's one person out there that can remember that.
And you hear those stories where like they lose their key.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's people that bought early and threw out the computer, and it's
gone.
They only had 2 Bitcoins. They didn't think much of it because the Bitcoins are like $40.
Yeah.
And now they're $100,000. Oh, you know there's a bunch of those out there.
Oh, yeah. There's a huge number that's been lost.
Well, you know, that guy's been trying to go mine the land.
Yeah.
I know. That's what.
Who?
There's a guy who,
No, he's alive, but he threw away a computer a long time ago with a.
Oh, yeah, I heard about
with
that.
$1 billion in
Crypto?
Bitcoin.
And he's looking for this thing?
No, the judge, he's been in courts for like 15 years now, and he finally just suffered his final loss at the courthouse. So about a week.
10 seconds, guys.
You really can.
Kwame officially declares his candidacy for governor in Ohio. Greg Lopez was there to offer his support. Will the former congressman make a run against John Hickenlooper for Senate in 2026? Find out Tuesday. Show starts at 2 on 630 KL.
All right, 303-713-8255. Don't forget 303 Martino. That number works on and off the air. You can also watch or rewatch the show at Troubleshooter Network on YouTube. Download the iHeart app, and you can listen to us anytime, either live or on the app. We have over 50,000 people a month that listen that way. Hey, interesting enough, during the break, Dimitri asked Dan, if you have a house here in Colorado, could you set up, because Florida, Dan's got some of the best protection for property. I mean, because a lot of people retire there. Can you set up a house that's owned in another state there? The answer, pretty much bottom line, is no. But look, Dan McKenzie, coplans.co. Give these guys a call. He's a great guy. Like I said, that upfront pricing. Maybe you've been divorced recently. Maybe you got a mixed marriage now. Something has changed. coplans.com.
Follow Tom Martino at Real Tom Martino and stay connected with all of us at 630 KHOW, KHOW.com, and on the iHeartRadio app. This is Denver's talk station, 630 KHOW.
Regen Revolution has helped me so much in terms of getting mobile and active again, and now they'll be helping me and you at their new location near Old Town in Arvada. It's an expanded facility, so an even better version of the great care you've come to know from Regen Revolution. The combination of regenerative medicine and more traditional treatment modalities have gotten me back to being able to play sports and exercise in ways I thought I might never do again. Learn more at regenrev.com. That's REGENREV.com.
Did you know K&H Home Solutions is now offering beautiful bathroom makeovers? That's right. The oldest home improvement company in Colorado can redo your entire bathroom, or if you prefer, just a new shower, specializing in tub-to-shower conversions, exceptional remodels, full upfront transparent pricing. Call for your free estimate and get the bath of your dreams. 303-421-7100, khwindows.com, 421-7100.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
KRFX HD2 Denver.
KHOW Denver, an iHeart radio station. Make us the #1 preset on the free iHeart Radio app. Listen for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Amid sweeping layoffs across federal agencies, Majority Leader John Thune says Senate confirmed agency heads should have broader authority over personnel decisions affecting their agencies instead of Elon Musk and Doge.
But I would also argue, again, that in anything that they do, they need to be respectful of people that are involved in these agencies and departments of government.